What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Bare Minimum, guys. Ben Johnson publicly calls on Caleb to challenge himself to be better. The refs might possibly be replacements, as in literally, like the movie. We want to talk a little bit about Jaden Ivey, guys. Not beat that up too much. This is a Bears podcast, all the same. And what's going on with the Bears left tackle situation? Dustin, how you feeling tonight?
Feeling good, man. Just got back from Florida the other day.
Yeah,
It's a
it's hard to
great
feel
trip.
anything but good when you're coming back
Yeah,
from
with the
Florida.
weather out
Yeah,
here that we've had the last couple of days since I got back.
yeah, and you come back
Uh,
to fucking rain and storms, man. But it's getting warmer, anyways, guys. Again, we're going to talk about a lot about Caleb and Ben Johnson after that presser Ben had at the owners' meetings, but all that and more after this.
Windy City banners rocking 4 stars align. Dynasty dreams rise, Bulls in their prime. Cubs curse shattered, the victory divine. Fields be running, clock ticking on my timeline. Shot-town heroes, legends never fade. Black Hawks flying, cutting ice with the blade. White Sox diamonds, the Southside parade. 4 stars shine bright, legacies they made. Mike with the crown, air rain, no dispute. Sweetness in the backfield, Walter in pursuit. Bear down Sunday's midfield, battles cute. Chicago.
Big news for me, guys. Got access to the chat again. Excited about that, Dustin. So,
Sorry, Brad.
fast forward for you.
Just got off the phone with the president. I was on the phone with the president.
Oh,
Literally
yeah.
just on.
They,
Did you hear that
they,
Tiger Woods thing? The body cam footage. He told
no.
the cop he just got off the phone with the president. Fucking tool.
Yeah, he's an idiot, man. That guy's an idiot. Like, and then so many people are like, oh, there was zero blood alcohol in it. Yeah, you don't have to be drinking to be inebriated. I'll make people
Yeah,
remind
opiates
them.
and such. Yeah,
Yeah, the
Tiger
addiction
Woods
was,
was big into pills, wasn't it? The last
yeah,
time.
yeah, since the injury. Yeah, and then he had the first car wreck where his bone protruded from his body, and I'm pretty sure his pill addiction didn't get any better after that, I would imagine.
His wife beat the
But
shit out of him with his golf clubs.
yeah, deservedly so.
Having a
All
rough
right, Justin,
time.
we,
Tiger Woods.
we got a full docket here, and I don't really care where we start, guys. This is why this is the bare minimum of structure. You want to lead off with the Caleb thing?
No, I don't. I want to lead off with this mock draft that came out with ESPN today from
Oh yeah,
ESPN.
let's go over that.
They did
Was it
a
3 rounds?
they did a 3 round mock draft. 4 guys alternating: Matt Miller, Reed, Field Yates, and Mel Kiper. So that was pretty cool. I like the format that they did there. And
Yeah, I like Miller and Yates a lot.
Matt Miller, I've been following him since Bleacher Report. He's always a guy I lean to. He's usually pretty accurate.
He's a
But
good writer too, man.
the draft was really interesting to me that they came out with for the Chicago Bears when it was all said and done, man. It was Peter Woods with the first pick. The second pick was Danny Dennis Sutton, who I fucking love as a really sneaky like edge. If you can get him in the second round, you're getting a starting defensive end, I think, with that pick, which is, great value. The third pick, number 60, was Kyle Lewis, who I fucking love as well. I know Sean loves him as well. Versatile hybrid safety linebacker. I think he can play strong safety in the league, and Dennis Allen can put him everywhere. I love that pick. And then their third round pick, number 89, was Antonio Williams, the receiver out of Clemson. That's who they paid to the Bears. And that was a fucking awesome pick as well. I think he's a very underrated receiver. Sean echoed that when I shared that with you guys earlier. So I mean, I thought that draft, if that draft fell that way for the Chicago Bears, you get your 3 tech, who's your disruptor, collapse in the pocket. You get another defensive end to throw in that rotation with Book and Sweat, and you get Kyle Lewis, who can play linebacker, safety, whatever you need. I'm sorry, guys, I got to talk kind of quiet. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm not in my normal space.
You're not quiet, man. I can hear you loud and clear, dude.
Talking quiet though, so I feel it. I'm also drinking a little Jameson, so I'm kind of chill. But you know, Camila, my daughter, is now transitioning to her crib, which is the room that I'm normally in. So, gonna be some changes. It looks like, and I have to figure it out. But my daughter's growing up, man. She's on her own now in her room. It's sweet. But
I got a bit of a
Camila,
concern here, Dustin. You seen
I'm
anything in our
no,
in our
I'm not
chat?
seeing the stats either. It's the second fucking week in a row, man.
Yeah, that's annoying. Who
It's
was
got to
working
be
all.
something with the setup of the show. Who's setting up the show? Are you setting up the show?
I always set up the show. I always set up the same way.
Okay. So are you? Because they had no problem with the chat, and we had no problem in Howard Hall. We had no problem in the Barely There. So it's got to be something. Oh, there it is. I got something.
Peter Woods. I think that is that
Peter
Erica?
Woods, defensive tackle,
Gel the
Clemson.
Squirrel. Is this Erica? I see. I'm sorry. I apologize. Thanks for joining us. I thought I heard Sean and Kyle refer to Squirrel here as Erica, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like you're making a pretty big.
But that's not from YouTube, man. That's a chat from Twitch.
So what the fuck is going on,
we're
bro?
missing some YouTube stuff here.
What are you doing? What'd you do? It's got to be something in the setup, man. It has to be. I don't think
I'm
it's a
not
stream thing.
doing anything different from what I've always done, man.
Well, so I don't know. What do you think? What do you think of that draft, Brandon? While you're looking around at that, or do you want me to just kind of bullshit while you go look at those settings? Oh, there we go.
Boom. Got it. It was
What'd
on
you do?
private. It was on private on YouTube.
You son of a bitch.
Our viewers weren't from YouTube. It was sorry, guys. We got you in there though. Jed, Vizzo, John. Appreciate you.
Brother? Jed,
And
my
thanks
favorite.
to Gel the Squirrel from watching from Twitch. That's fucking cool. I didn't know we had anybody watching on Twitch. Appreciate that. I think that's a great draft, Dustin. I agree.
I think
with
it would be
and I
fucking
think
killer for the Bears if that's what
make a
that draft. Yeah.
tremendous impact on the defensive side of the football. That is what we're all hoping for this year. So, I like we've mentioned every one of those players as guys we both like, man. I mean, that would be an ideal draft for you and me both, I think. And I know there's a lot of people that are kind of out on the Kyle Lewis thing because he's a bit of a tweener, but Dennis Allen seems like a perfect place for a guy like that to be, right?
I think Kyle Lewis can play safety in the league, man. He's got the speed, he's got the coverage ability, and he's got the linebacker experience to come up in the box. I think that guy would be a great chess piece for Dennis Allen to move around on his defense. And I think it would be a hell of a pick. I mean, if you're talking about Peter Woods with your first pick, I would not be disappointed in that at all. I really wouldn't, because you're talking about a guy that can collapse the pocket, a guy that has all the traits and abilities.
Some pass rush in your first two picks.
And then Danny Dennis Sutton, like I said, I already told you what I think of him. He's a damn good defensive end that I think is going to translate well to the NFL. He's got the size.
Penn State product, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then, I mean, if you're talking about Antonio Williams, I think that's a great weapon. That's a guy that could be a secondary target in an offense sooner rather than later, I believe.
How big is he?
Let me pull it up real quick. I don't know off the top of my head. I know I saw him at Clemson, and he had a really good 2024, not the greatest 2025. He's 5'11", 190.
This is a fast guy.
Yeah, he's probably more of your slot, but he plays on the boundaries too. What's up, True? Bizzo, I agree with you.
He ran a 4.4 40.
Yeah, he's got some solid speed.
Fast guy.
Yeah. I mean, he can find his way to the end zone too. I mean, that's just another weapon to add to this offense. I just think that
remarkably weak. 10 presses on bench. That's all right.
Bench press is overrated.
Don't need a guy to be super strong to play in the league, especially at that position. But
yeah, I mean, Halsey to me in the second round as your safety option, I think would be a steal as well. Bizzo saying that here, I agree with him 100%. And then the Squirrel echoes that sentiment. I'm with that. We're talking about the draft that ESPN came out with today. I mean, I think Kyle Lewis is your safety in that situation, Brandon. That's what I think. I think Kyle Lewis transitions to strong safety in the NFL.
I think it would be hard pressed to make an argument that the Bears don't address safety with one of those top 4 picks. So I agree with you. I think in regards to the way those guys mocked it, they're taking Kyle Lewis to fill that role. Mm-hmm. They're not leaving safety off the board for the Bears in the top 4 picks of the draft. And you would absolutely go there over a receiver. So when you're taking Kyle Lewis on the back end there, and a lot of Bears fans challenge this, man. Like, Kyle Lewis is the one player, and I don't like the position change thing for anybody. A lot of guys think the Stooks kid could play safety versus corner. But Kyle Lewis is the one guy that kind of you watched like Urlacher go from safety to linebacker when he was drafted in. He's got that kind of athleticism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
He's not just
Yeah,
the
for sure.
size where he's in between two positions. He's a really, really athletic guy, like Dustin said, who's played a lot of places, so he knows how it works from multiple positions. You know what I mean? He's got the mentality to play multiple positions, which is not very common.
And like I said, the coverage ability too. I don't know. I would be
He's
very
remarkable coverage linebacker.
yeah. I would be very happy with that draft if that's the way it played out. I think you improve your defense instantly. Honestly, I think that changes your defense on a dime. A lot of I was watching BCP earlier tonight, and like safety kept getting bypassed. They were doing a mock draft, but they were letting the chat kind of vote on it. And safety kept getting bypassed, and it's like, okay, so you don't draft a safety, what you're gonna have Elijah Hicks starting? Is that
Yeah,
the route we
this
want
is
to go
the
as Bears fans? Not
and
me.
in the Monday show we did, man, a lot of the chat was kind of opposed to safety with a high pick as well, and I kept trying to kind of reiterate to people like this is the one position where you would expect DeMarco Jackson and put Devin Bush are your starters come day one, especially if Edwards isn't healthy enough to be on the field when the season starts. But you don't have a safety to start aside Kobe Bryant. You do
No,
not have one.
I think
You
Kobe
have to
Bryant.
address that position,
I
man.
I think Kobe Bryant's going to be a stud in this defense. I really
So
and
do
Devin
I.
Bush. I
Yeah,
think both of them were huge pickups and great ones, and they're going to be
yeah,
damn good in this defense. But you need, like you said, you need someone opposite of him,
yeah.
and
Elijah
you
Hicks
have to address that in the draft. You have to.
is not good enough, guys, to start on
He's
any
he's
team.
a special teams player, and he's damn good at what he does in that role. But I don't want to see him as my starting safety. No, no, sir. Like I need something more. And the good thing is that there's a lot of depth at the safety position in this draft. A lot of talented players. The squirrel here says Malik Muhammad, cornerback, Texas, second round, pick 60. I like Malik Muhammad. I think cornerback is an
He's a bigger
underrated
guy,
need for
right?
the Bears for sure.
That's a Al Harris kind of guy. Isn't he a big guy? Malik Muhammad, I'm pretty sure he's a pretty big dude.
We keep talking about we don't got this shit pulled up here,
He
so stop
keeps
talking about
he
their
keeps
size.
moving. A
If
lot of
you
people
don't
don't
know,
keep.
don't say it.
Sean said it on. Well, I mean, somebody can throw it. That's why we got a chat, man. They're giving the name out there. They probably know a little bit about him. But um, Sean said from all the mocks he's seen and from all the draft homework he's done, if you don't pick Malik at 25, you're probably not getting Muhammad. So I don't know
From
if
what I'm
this
seeing in
guy's.
terms of the rankings and where these guys are falling, he's a second round player at best. He's not
Yeah,
going.
but he's being drafted like high to mid second round, which means he likely won't fall to where the Bears are picking in the second round. So I don't like the Bears taking him at the 25th pick. I don't think a corner is where you should go with that pick. I know we do best player available. I also
Well,
don't think he'll be.
if the
I
corner
don't
is
think he'll be
there's
that
going to be
either.
value there. There's going to be value there. I think. I mean, Avion Terrell there could make sense for the Bears. I'm not sure, but like he'll be there, and he's a guy that's going in that range, and I think he's a damn good corner, outside corner, which is what the Bears need. Scottish, what's up?
What's up, Scottish? I like
And
what Jed
Jed,
just said there. Good
yeah,
safety
good
players
safety
game.
play.
Yeah, because this is a thing, guys, that I think is starting to kind of develop itself as more. It's coming more to the forefront in regards to the NFL because you're seeing guys who are kind of changing the element of the dynamic of a defense, I should say, with Brian Branch and Nick Umanyori. I mean, these guys they're bringing something to a defense that the NFL hasn't really common. Like it's not very common to see this, but
Cooper DeJean,
yeah, they're
you got
guys that
nickel
can
safety
they
guys.
play in the safety role, but they can do many things, and they're not defined to just a strong side or a free safety. You know, what I mean, they're really hybrid players that can do just about everything you need them to do on your defense. And I think the more you see this, and the more impact it has, because you just
That's
watched the
why I
guy.
like Kyle Lewis, Brandon,
Yeah,
because
you just
he's
watched the
that
guy as a
guy.
rookie win a Super Bowl doing this.
You know.
I think, and he made it. He was probably the best player on their
Well,
defense.
sorry, Brandon. Two guys in a row, 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
Cooper
Desheen,
DeJean two
and
years
both
ago,
guys that
and
fell.
even Warrior this year with the
Yeah,
Seahawks, and
and you
he
get
was a pivotal part of that defense.
yeah, and you got to start wondering, Dustin, when are these guys going to stop falling? When is this position going to hold a little more value to GMs in the draft? Because Cooper DeJean, by my and your standards, and I'm sure everybody in the chat, these guys are all smart dudes. He was a first round talent.
He was a top 15 talent in
Yeah,
that
there was
draft.
no
I
doubt
said
about
that
that.
over and over again, and the fact that he fell to the second round was a goddamn shame
And
and a
it's got
blessing
something to
for
do
the
with the
Eagles.
position, right? Because when
Well,
you
it's
always
just I don't think that trend is
was,
changing. The NFL seems to be slow to catch up to certain trends, man. And
yeah,
if you can take advantage of it and find a market discrepancy that you can, add extreme talent to your team with a guy like Kyle Lewis, then I mean, I think you gotta do it because I think Kyle Lewis fits in that role too, and I don't think people think about him enough in that way, which is why I was really happy to see that mock with him in that spot for the Bears because I think the Bears would 100% be looking at him as their safety, but also like they could throw another safety out there and have three safeties on the field, and Kyle Lewis basically playing a linebacker role but has great coverage ability. That gives you a huge advantage on defense with these offenses the way they're playing now, spreading people out with these tight ends that are basically big ass receivers. Like it just gives you an advantage. A lot of teams are doing this three safety thing, and it's really working out well for them.
well, with the Bears having to make such a great impact on this defense, with really because they've now limited themselves through free agency, not signing more than as much as we thought they were going to. The Bears are almost in a position of need for a guy like Kyle Lewis because, like you said, Dustin, a lot of people keep asking the same question: Who is the third linebacker on this football team? That guy's perfect. He's perfect because
Yeah,
you're not
because he
restricting him.
doesn't come off the field on passing down.
Yes. And you're not
Yes.
restricting him to being that linebacker. If you need
Yeah.
him to drop or if you need him to do anything, he can do that for you. I think it would be a tremendous fit for Dennis Allen to have players like those, man, that provide the versatility to do multiple things on the field. That's why people
Right.
talk about he doesn't take a 300 plus pound nose tackle because Dennis Allen doesn't like guys who are true to one thing. Kyle Lewis does many. And I think Dennis Allen, I can assure you of this, Dustin. I'm sure you agree. He's got his eyes on that guy. Right
I
now,
I
he's
I
aware of
think
who
so
that
too.
is.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think Jaquan Brisker's going to play that role for the Steelers, and he could have played that role for the Bears too, to be honest. But
Yeah, and Kyler Gordon's
that's
going to move around a bit now. I'm sure
yeah.
that you're lacking talent in places.
Vizzo asked this question, and we've talked about this, but let's just chop it up real quick. If Ben takes a wide receiver at 25, would you guys be surprised?
No,
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 not
not
at
at all.
all. They're going to go best player available, and it was said by Ryan Poles at the owners meeting, like whether that's offense or defense, they're going to stay true to their board, which is what we know Poles does, and what Ben Johnson is going to do. I mean, Colston Loveland was not a need; that was a
No, and
luxury, and look how that played out. Luther Burden was not a need; that was a luxury, but look how that played out. These two guys live, eat, and breathe football, and they're dynamic playmakers. And the Bears added them to their roster in situations where they went best player available over need, which is what this team is going to do again in this year in this draft, and I will support that 100%.
yeah, when you look at that
If it's a
offense,
receiver, I'm good with it. If it's the
the
right guy, if
Bears,
it's Omar Cooper, fuck yeah, I'm with that.
you can just reiterate the sentiment that Ben Johnson does after every game. I mean, like the words mean a lot to me when a guy like Ben's saying them. Their good got better, but their better ain't the best. And if Ben thinks that somebody can be added to this offense that might make them the best in the league, the number one offense in the NFL, absolutely, he's going to add it. Absolutely, he's going to approach. He's going to attack it. Ben wants this offense to be the best in the league, the same as he did in Detroit,
And that's
and
what Caleb wants too,
and
Brandon.
and
He
they're
said
not
that as
there.
well.
They're good, but they're not there.
That's been the main thing Ben was talking about at those owner meetings and all the interviews. I watched every interview. I mean, and that's going to lead into our next topic. But I mean, like, Ben just, you have to love it as a Bears fan when you listen to this man talk and you see like how much improvement Caleb had, how much this offense, was able to score points when they needed to, and how dynamic they showed they could be in spurts, but they missed a lot of plays. And like, Ben's just not happy with what they put on the field. It needs to be better. He feels more comfortable with his coaches now. He feels more comfortable in his role as a head coach, and he's going to challenge these guys even more. And it's just got to be a huge side. It's a huge feeling of like relief for Bears fans because it just felt like we haven't had that in previous coaches. A guy that's just not going to accept 11 wins and the season that they had. It's that's good enough. It wasn't good enough. They left a lot of plays on the field, and that's all he keeps saying. We're going to figure out a way to capitalize on those things
Yeah, and Joe
and
Squirrel
improve on that.
likes Skylar Bell with 89th pick. I wouldn't
That
be.
guy's picking up a lot of steam with a lot of people. I
So
keep
is the
hearing his
guy in the
name.
next chat. This guy, I'm pumping the
Whew.
brakes a little bit on Kenyon Sadiq. I really like the kid, but I always hesitate when a guy's combine tape is better than his game film.
I don't
And
think. I think his
I
game
believe that
film,
to
Brandon.
be
I
the
think his
case.
game film lines up with what he did at the combine in terms of his physical
He was a
ability.
little
You saw it
lackluster
on the
for me,
field.
man, but he played in an offense that
Well, I
Oregon's
think he had a
offense wasn't.
lackluster quarterback.
Yeah, Dante. I mean, I like Dante Moore, but that offense didn't hum the
But
way
he's
Oregon.
been.
That's what they're known for, and that wasn't their niche this year. So,
Yeah, I
it
think
was.
Dante Moore would have been a higher pick in this draft. He'd probably be the second best quarterback in this draft, but I think he's still got some work to do. That's why he went back. So I
Yeah,
mean,
stuck
like,
around. Yeah,
yeah,
he's staying, right? Staying in college.
yeah,
isn't
yeah, and that's the smart thing to do because he would have been taken, probably second overall. But
he? Yeah, no,
there's
he's
more
going to be a good
improvement that he
player
can
next
make.
year. Yeah,
I don't think Kenyon Sadiq makes it to the Bears at 25, and I don't think that that's the right fit for them. But I would be intrigued by a Colston Loveland Sadiq pairing. True,
he's a
that's
freak, man.
it's intriguing to think about, but I don't
He
think
might be the
that makes
most
sense for them.
impressive athlete in this draft. His combine numbers, when you compare his bench, his vertical, his speed, are equal to like the players that are
What's
way
up,
out of
JTK?
aren't even in the realm of his position. His speed is equivalent to like I don't remember what receiver was. It was like Tyreek Hill, like somebody in that range. His vertical was the same as like the guy with the best corner in the league. His strength
If
was like that of an offensive lineman. His numbers were off the chart.
if I was the Chiefs, I would draft Kenyon Sadiq at number 9.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
that would be a match made in heaven. I think Mahomes likes those guys, man.
I want to say what's up to J2K.
What's up, JTK?
And I want to touch on this chat because he says Scottish says Cooper DeJean's success was down to the Eagles having a strong D line. Same with the Seahawks and Nick Emanwari. Their D line was strong too. No, yeah, for sure. I agree. You need both.
Those things make players better,
but if you talk about
very talented players,
you talk about that mock that we both like so much, Brandon. Peter Woods with the 25th pick, Danny Dennis Sutton with the 57th pick, and then you go Kyle Lewis with that 60th pick. You're addressing the D line. You already addressed D line with your free agency, with Neville Gallimore and Lynch and Street, right? So like you've done some things there to improve your D line. You hope. I don't know how I feel about those moves, like in terms of how they move the needle on the defensive line, but those picks added with that, you've worked on a pretty damn good rotation. And you still hope Dio comes back into that rotation and makes an impact as well. And Turner, right? Like you've made moves over these past couple of seasons.
If you remove Kyle Lewis from the conversation, I agree with what he's saying because, like, I think if you were to draft Woods and Sutton, Kobe Bryant's a better player today.
Mm-hmm.
If you draft
Devin Bush. Devin Bush is.
Yeah, these guys are better players naturally. I agree with you. A team is built from the inside out. It is, and the trenches being good does multiply everybody else on the team. That's
all well and good, Brandon. But as Jed's saying right here, like you can't control how the board falls, and you still need that really good safety. So, like, say Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is there at 25, you got to take him, right? Because like you still need that safety, and if the value there outweighs the defensive lineman prospects that you're looking at, you still got to have both. You know what I'm saying? So like you got to take one. You see teams take receivers when they need a quarterback, but they don't have the quarterback there to take. So you might as well take that receiver, and then hopefully that next year you add that quarterback. Like you got to go BPA. You have to. And if you can find value at safety at 25, there's Bears fans that are in our chats that are completely opposed to it because the position is undervalued. But as you just said, maybe teams aren't reacting quickly enough to that change in terms of like how the impact that these guys can make, right? And you can take advantage of that discrepancy.
Yeah, absolutely. And The more I look at McNeil Warren, man, the more I watch. I've watched a lot of tape over the last 2 weeks. I really like this kid, man. And I was talking because we were talking about on Monday's show, and we've done it for a couple of weeks here now, how the Bears had a really strong set of playmakers last year, guys who force the ball, guys who take the ball away, guys who make plays on the ball but take
And
risks.
that was without the defensive line
McNeil
and the pass
Warren,
rush.
and then a lot of guys saying like we'd rather they be more fundamentally sound, even if the turnover rate comes down. Guys can just do their job and cover well, even if they're not taking the ball away at a high rate. McNeil Warren does both these things, guys. He has the most. He had 9 forced fumbles in 3 college seasons. That's an average of 3 per year. You know who that's comparable to? Charles Tillman had 3.3 over the course of his career. This guy takes the ball away as well as plays really good in coverage.
Yeah,
As
that was
well
in the
as
MAC though, Brandon. It's in the
yeah,
MAC. Charles Tillman was doing that in the NFL. That's a
yeah.
little
Well, I tried to
different.
find college comparisons to
That
McNeil Warren's
comparison is
fumble
tough.
rate, and literally it said there really isn't a college player you can compare McNeil Warren's fumble rate to because
So maybe that skill set is just
nobody
translatable
else
no
is
matter what.
doing it.
Yeah.
Nobody else in the college football is really doing it at the
What
rate he is.
what I like about EMW, man, is that he can play in the box and he shows a willingness to stick his head in there. And he's also a damn good cover safety. So, and you got the same thing in Kobe Bryant.
He's
So
got great range too.
you put those two guys next to each other, like they can alternate between free and strong. Like you can move them all around. It's so like I don't know. I think they're both versatile. I think Emmanuel McNeil Warren is a versatile dude, man. So like he can do multiple things at that safety position. He could be your free or he could be your strong, depending on how you roll that out. And if you roll with 3 safeties potentially, I
And a
don't
lot
know.
of his forced fumbles, man, you can tell he is targeting the ball. So
Yeah,
that's a really
some
strong
guys
quality
just
to
have a
have
knack for that.
before you even make it to the
Yeah.
NFL, because that's something they preach in the NFL is always get after the ball. And that kid's already kind of got a natural sense of doing so. And that's that on Dennis Allen's defense that could pay major dividends.
I like this draft conversation, and I want to comment on the squirrel here. Says to fix the Bears edge rush, 4th round pick, 189, Mason Rieger. What else? Well, the Bears are picking 129 in the 4th round. So, but either way, Mason Rieger, I don't like. I'm just gonna say it. Like I'm not as big of a
You're gonna
fan.
insult Sean.
I'm not as big of a fan as a lot of people are, and
This
maybe
guy
I'll
went
be
to Sean's high school.
wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Sean don't know him
Fun
personally.
fact. No, Sean's high school days are quite a bit
far
Love you, Sean.
behind him. No,
so am I. Love you, Sean.
Yeah, mine shit. What I graduated in 2005. Fuck.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of him. I'm just gonna say that. I don't know how you feel about him, Brandon, but I don't like his physical traits at all. He's a try hard guy. He works hard, but no, I'm just not a fan.
He's a pick that if you took a chance on, I don't know how disappointed. I mean, that's a 7th-round guy, I think, as far as.
Well, Squirrel here is talking about the 4th round. That's your 129.
Yeah, I think he falls. I think he falls well beyond the 4th round.
If you can get him in the 7th round, sure. I don't think he's going to fall there, Brandon. But
I don't think he's going to be picked in the 4th. I'd be very surprised if he is.
If he's picked by the Bears in the 4th, that's a Ruben Hippolyte fucking pick. I'm not with that.
The pick that the mock draft that we went over on Monday, he was picked to the Bears in like. I think it was the 4th, and I was when Sean asked me like, "What do you guys think of this draft?" I was like, "That's a pick I'm not thrilled about," but they took. I think it was Jack Kelly. They took a really good linebacker of the 7th.
Kelly in the 7th round. Kelly
yeah,
out of BYU. Yeah.
Pray for that. Yeah,
pass rush specialist out of that linebacker position. You can deploy him in some certain situations that could work. I like him. I like him in the 7th round. I like him in the 4th. And then Jed here, I want to talk about this too, because he says, I don't think the Bears could pass up Peter Woods at 25. The one guy, maybe 2 guys, because we just talked about Emmanuel McNeil Warren.
I know who your other guys.
It's Falk. It's Keldrick Falk, the defensive end out of Auburn, who I think is going to be people in the chat have kind of disagreed with me on this, but he's going to be the best pure 4-3 defensive end.
Big boy. Yeah.
In this draft. He's going to be 21 when the season starts. There's a lot of untapped potential there. I love this fucking kid. And he's the guy that I would take. If it's between Falk or Woods, I'm taking Falk. And honestly, it's a toss-up for me between McNeil Warren and Woods. I might go EMW over Woods. I think it's Falk for me, number one at that 25 spot. Number two is EMW, and number three is Peter Woods. It's really close between that 2 and 3 for me, Brent.
I would pick McNeil Warren over Woods.
I know you would. You've been really, me and you both, we really want that safety. We really want that starting safety because it's a glaring need for this Bears team. And when you look at what the Bears have done in free agency, as I just said, they attacked the defensive tackle position in free agency this year and last year.
Yeah, it felt like they pushed. It felt like they directed the safety to the draft, didn't it? Didn't you get that vibe? Like,
yeah, like they have to get a starting safety in this draft.
Sign for not as much money as you anticipated, and you're wondering, how did the Bears even offer these guys anything? And then it just started to make me think, man, they really liked Kobe Bryant. Ben Johnson said that he related to the film that he watched and how much homework he did on Bryant. Ben Johnson is very heavily involved in the defensive side of football, guys. By the way, I did a segment on that a couple Mondays ago. He said that he watched just as like Ben Johnson was in the room watching film on Kobe Bryant, just the same as Dennis Allen was, and he liked Kobe Bryant. He thought he fit this team really well, his mentality, his attitude. I think they very much just planned on drafting the other safety, starting across from him in this draft. I don't think
it seems like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think they ever humored signing a guy to play that position in free agency.
Let's talk. I mean, this comment right here. I mean, there's this question from J2K. He says, "Where does Cam Lewis play? He's an overlooked free agent. I think he's overlooked for a reason. I think he's a Jag. I think he's just another guy. He's been in the league for years.
Special teams guy.
Yeah, I'm not. If this guy is your starting safety or Elijah Hicks, I think you're in for a world of hurt. J2K.
I think Hicks came back. I think
I do not want him to be my starting safety. No,
I think he replaced Jonathan Owens, the special teamer, with Cam Lewis. That's what I think that was primarily.
So you're not high on the Cam Lewis thing either. I was not.
You got a little depth at the position, which you did need last year. You had,
but he was more of a nickel back, wasn't he? More of a nickel back.
Yeah, he's a nickel, but he could play safety. But I see him as just a special teams player, man. I don't, and the Bears need that. You know, they let some of their special teamers walk, and you got to have that. I like having veteran players on special teams. So I think it was important that they brought back a guy like Hardy and they signed a guy like Cam Lewis when they lose a guy like Jonathan Owens. But I think that's what he's there for. I don't think they have any intention on this kid playing anywhere on the field as a starter.
I really hope not, Brent. I really hope not. I don't want to see this guy starting for our defense. Now, I'll say this for DA. He did a lot with a lot of injuries last year and got guys to play up to roles that you did not expect him to be in. Nashawn Wright was a practice squad guy who had 7 interceptions
and 17 starts.
So
one of the only players on the team that started every week.
He got a lot out of guys we didn't expect to see on the field that much. So I mean, Dennis Allen can do that. So I'm not going to put it past him. But I don't think Cam Lewis is an ideal starter, nor Elijah Hicks at your other safety position, which is why addressing safety in the draft I think is really important.
I would.
JTK says he really liked the MW when he was in the 40 to 60 range. Okay, I like him at 25. I do.
Listen, I'm not the all-knowing guys, but we do a lot of homework on this stuff. If you believe that the Bears are not intending on addressing the safety with one of their top probably 2 picks in this draft, I don't know that you've focused too much on how Dennis Allen and Ryan Poles operate. Everything to me points towards safety with that first pick. If one of those top tier talents is available, I think that's the position.
Dylan Thieneman ain't gonna be there, Brandon. He's going to the Vikings.
No, yeah, Downs and Thieneman will be selected elsewhere, but
Downs will be in the top 10.
I do believe
Thieneman's going to the Vikings. I think that's set in stone.
I believe EMW has a chance to fall to 25 just because this position is undervalued in the draft. It's undervalued by NFL GMs. I think that there's a potential for this guy to be there when you're picking, and if he is, it makes so much sense for a guy like Ryan Poles and Dennis Allen to take a player like that to me, man.
I saw Dylan Thieneman go in the draft today on a mock on NFL Network. I forget who it was. It Shook.
14.
He went 12th. He went 12th to the Cowboys. Yeah, and then EMW went 18 to the Vikings in that mock. And in that mock, I think the Bears ended up taking Caden Proctor, which I wouldn't be upset with. That's your left tackle of the future, I think. That guy is a fucking massive man and a really physical dude.
Yeah, freak. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
There's
mean,
a
like
lot
I
of these
wouldn't
guys, there's
be.
a lot of these guys in this draft that are just their physical accolades just leap off the page, man. I
Yeah,
would
for
imagine
sure.
this is going to be a trend moving forward in
And I
sports.
think this
Like,
draft is
there's a
going to
lot of
be.
freaks in there, man.
Yeah, and I think this draft is going to be like who fits into that physical freak role within your team, whether it's offense or defense. Because I don't, there's not a lot of studs in this draft after you get
You got
outside the top
who's
eight.
who's who's the linebacker, man?
So you're looking for traits,
Who's the linebacker? The kid that's
styles,
you got Styles and that Sadiq kid, the tight end, who just
physical
broke
freaks. Yes.
broke all kinds of records at
Yeah.
the combine, man.
I mean, you got Arvell Reese, who's also a freak. David Bailey, and there's Downs. It's not as physically talented, but he's like the smartest, instincts guy in the draft. Like he's
And a
gonna be a stud.
playmaker.
Yeah,
Puts himself in the right place at the right time. Dude.
there's some interest. This draft is going to be interesting because I don't know that it's not very top heavy, but like I think there's a lot of depth here, and the Bears can take advantage of it, man. Scottish says, guys, I study the draft. The top team that build through the trenches don't draft safeties in the first. You grab quality in the second, third, and fourth, which is why I like Halsey in the second. I do, and I mean I like Bishop Fitzgerald out of USC. I'll just keep saying that. Like I think this guy, and he could be a sixth, seventh round pick. And I think he could be a starting
Let me
safety.
ask though. Let me ask this question, Scott.
He wanted the Bears to draft Hafanga. The Niners ended up drafting him, and now he's with the
Do you
Broncos.
think there's teams that regret passing on Cooper DeJean or Nick Umanyori in the first round of these last 2 years' drafts? Do you think those guys have played to the potential first round talent? Like, have those guys made an impact on NFL teams where you thought that's the guy who should have been drafted in the first round? There's a lot of
I
teams
mean,
there's a lot of teams that messed up.
if it were me, I would have. If I was picking 15, I would have drafted either one of those guys. I had Eamon Wari as a top 10 guy last year.
Yeah, you had him as the best safety in the draft over what's the kid that everybody else
The guy got drafted to the
Ravens.
Starks, yeah. I had him as the best. I had him as the number 10 talent in the draft. So I mean, like I thought more highly of him than maybe J2K did going into that draft. And I mean, you can say like he was in a good position, right, with the defensive line. But at the end of the day, the guy had to make plays. The guy has physical abilities, and again, it's like the chicken or the egg. You need both. You need both. So, if it falls in the way that safety is the guy that's available to you, I think you take advantage of that, and then you figure the rest out later. Just the best player available.
The problem with the approach there, True, is, or whoever said that, I forget who said that. The problem with that, like you don't take a safety at 25.
What up, Crooked?
I think you're thinking too much about position versus best
Saw that
player
Cliff.
available. When you're telling me you don't take this position at 25, to me, you're already disregarding the best player available mentality. Because like, you would probably say to me, you don't take a wide receiver at 25 when you've got Rome and Luther. What if the best player on the board available is a wide receiver? The best player available should heavily outweigh the position, and I don't mean like
especially on
the
a
best
team
player
like the
available
Bears.
still has to be a position you need. No, it doesn't. It's got to be the best player available. That's it. You unattach the position to it entirely, as far as I'm concerned. If the best player available at 25 is a fucking center, you take them. Well, I guess the Bears kind of need one. If it's a tight end,
I don't agree with you there.
we
We
had
can get into that.
We had Sadiq just right there. Okay, if you think that that's the best player available, if that's what Ben Johnson thinks, that's who you draft, man. Because Kyle said it best. If you continue to take the best player available in all your drafts, you'll eventually have a winning football team. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, no, you just want to add talent. You want to add studs for sure. And yeah, Falk, I've seen him go as high as 15 to the Buccaneers. I've seen him go as far as I've seen him go to the Seahawks.
Yeah, J2K asked why didn't Falk record sacks in college?
I mean, in the SEC, you're playing against some of the best tackles in college. These guys turn into pros in the NFL. You're talking about Caden Proctor. You're talking about Monroe Freeling. You're playing against really good tackles. But I mean, the pressure was there, and the physical traits and the abilities are there. The size, the strength, the speed is there. He's a guy that I'm banking on. If I get the right coach with him, he's going to take those traits and turn and figure out some other moves that, these counter moves that he's going to need in the NFL. And within 2 years, you're talking about a double digit sack guy. That's what I'm
Well,
looking
and the perspective there, J2K, is you're picking 25. So you're not going to get Bain. You're not going
for.
to,
Brandon, I need
Arvo,
1 minute. All right, I'll be right back.
Arvo Reese. You're not going to get these guys that had the sack numbers in college. They're just, you know, those big hitters are obviously going to probably be gone by the time the Bears pick. So if you believe that Falk has the potential to be the best player at the position at 25, but the college statistics weren't there. Again, I think you're just looking at talent. And some of these guys, when you're looking at the talent, it's never it. To be honest with you, I think it's often the talent needs to outweigh the college statistics. I think that happens pretty frequently. There's a lot of players that you can say, well, why didn't he take the ball away a lot as a corner, but he ends up being a really, really quality NFL player because sometimes the statistics don't really represent how good a player was, how fundamentally sound a player was, how talented a player could be in the league. And I think what Dustin's point with Falk is, and I like Emmanuel McNeil Warren more than Falk, but I think what Dustin's kind of relaying about Falk is he's that traditional 4-3 defensive end, more so than a stand-up edge. He's a guy that puts his hand in the dirt. He's a big guy. He's built like a defensive end in the NFL. I think in the 4-3 scheme that Dennis Allen runs, you wouldn't mind seeing one of those guys. Austin Booker is a little undersized. Montez Sweat is more of an edge setter, an all-around football player than he is just a pure edge rusher. I think Dustin thinks that a guy like Falk has the potential to be, an edge rushing defensive end in a 4-3 system.
I think he has the potential to be like that Jared Verse type. I think he has the potential to be that Julius Peppers type. I really do. Like that guy that
You want
can
to
just.
say like Myles Garrett, but there is no Myles
And
Garrett in
then
this draft.
he's ready made to stop the run. He's the guy that can set the edge, which is something that Dennis Allen loves. But will he be available at 25? Again, I've seen that he's got a pretty big variance in these mocks that I'm seeing. I hope so, because if he is, he's my number one guy for the Bears to get. He is. I think he's the best pure 4-3 defensive end in this draft.
The guy that I
Oh,
can't stand that I keep seeing, man, what's going on, Suggett, is Zion Young. I don't know. I don't know what
I
people
think
are
he's a
watching.
second round player, Brandon. He's not. You
Yeah.
don't pick him at 25.
That's the guy that I see draft mocked to the Bears where I have no interest or intrigue. I
Yeah,
think
same here.
it would be a grave mistake for the Bears to pick Zion Young at 25. I'll be honest with you. I don't want the Bears touching Zion Young in the second round. That's how I feel about Zion. I'm good on that, man. I don't think that he can't be a good player in the NFL. He's not going to provide what the Bears have been lacking for all this time since Poles has been the GM here. I don't think he's a good edge rusher in the NFL. He's got one solid move. The guys that can't fool you in the NFL are the guys that get beat.
Right.
So,
Let me tell you one more guy that I think I wouldn't be disappointed if the Bears took him at 25 is TJ Parker, the defensive end out of Clemson. Another guy with that size, another guy with the traits, the physical
and Lawrence,
ability.
these guys all like Lawrence is a big, and then
Malachi Lawrence, I love him. I don't think he's a little smaller in terms of bulk.
I love if you
I
go
love
safety or
Malachi Lawrence.
DT in the first round, I love Derek Moore. I think we're talking about a 4-3 defensive. I think that kid is.
You're talking about like your second round, one of your 57 or 60, Derek Moore.
60 pick. If you can get Derek Moore with the 60 pick,
I like Dennis Sutton a lot more than him. Right? But
I think Sutton's going to go a little higher than people think he is, man. I think Derek Moore's going to be there, just because he didn't have the production through his college career. He had it in one season. I think a lot of people are very skeptical over what Moore is and whether or not he declared for the draft a year earlier than he should have. But I think that kid's going to be a really special NFL player, man.
For sure. I'm not as high on him as you are, but like I wouldn't be disappointed either. And yeah, I liked the Loveland pick when they made it last year. So
What's up, Brooke? Crooked's in here.
It says at number 7.
Cliff. What's going on, Cliff? Thanks for everybody being in the chat, guys. We got over 40 right now in the building, and it's almost midnight. We appreciate you staying up and hanging out, guys. Yeah, we could talk.
Ooh, Shy Will. I like these kind of conversations. So I think we're going to put Kyler Gordon at safety and draft a nickel. I'm into that. I think I've been talking about Gordon playing safety for 3 years, Brandon. I think that might be his best position, personally. But like
Dave Wanstead was a really big advocate of this. Dave Wanstead wanted to see this. He wanted to see Tyreek Stevenson and Kyler Gordon both play safety over the course of last season. I don't know. Dennis Allen doesn't seem to be the kind of. Dennis Allen likes versatile players that he can move around, but he doesn't come off to me as a coach that's going to switch a player's position entirely. I don't see that happening. With a lot of guys are saying Shamar Turner's going to come back strictly to play the edge. I don't think Dennis Allen's set in that way, man. I don't think he's doing that. I don't know that Dennis Allen, like, this is a big one, man. Stooks. I see so many people when we're doing these mock drafts that say you draft Stooks and you make him a safety. I don't see Dennis Allen going that route. Like, even if you draft Kyle Lewis.
So what's the difference between him doing that or moving Kyler Gordon to safety, Brandon?
I don't think Kyle Lewis becomes a full-time starting safety on Dennis Allen's defense. I don't think he likes.
I think that might be his. I think that might be his better position, Brandon. Personally,
I don't think he likes to restrict a player to one thing when he believes the player is versatile. I think the benefit of a versatile player is you can move him around. So even if Kyler Gordon were to come and play some safety next year, I don't think that's your starting safety week in and week out.
J2K would draft Yakis over Falk out of Illinois.
I like Yakis.
I'm not with you there, but
I like reaching hard if you took him in the first.
Yeah, for sure.
He'll be there. He'll be very available to you in the second.
Would I be upset if they took him at 57? No.
I'm an Illinois guy, and I love this kid. I've watched most of Illinois' games. He's a really fucking good player. Wow. He's a defensive end in a 4-3 as well. He is.
He's that guy.
So it's a good comparison, Falk to Yakis, because it's a big dude. He's got a high motor, and he's got a plethora of moves, man. He's got great hands, but he's also a bull rusher when he need be. So I would love the Bears to take a chance on a guy like Yakis. He needs some development. He's raw, but
true. I know you've been on the Nadame Tucker thing for a while. Nadame is his name. Nadame Tucker. Yes.
He's the best edge.
He is not the best edge of the draft. I don't agree with you there, but like
they are though. Reese's and Baines and those guys are NFL.
He could be a solid rotational edge for you if you draft him in the fifth.
Those 3 guys projected in the top 15 picks are NFL ready players, man.
And Scottish, this is confusing because you got your GM out here saying it. They're gonna go best player available.
They took a tight end with the 10th pick in the draft. They had a $10 million tight end on the roster.
A year, yeah.
Don't be shocked, Scottish, when that's what happens, because that's what's happening.
It's not nonsense. It's actually what's in front of us, man. It's what they've done.
They could draft Omar Cooper, dude. And would you, Scottish? Would you really be surprised?
Would you be upset? Because
it's not even about. No, I don't even. It's not even about that. Would you be surprised? If they took Omar Cooper with the 25th pick, would you be shocked that Ben Johnson went and got his?
Or that the Bears just are continuing to add the best talent possible to their team.
Yeah, that's what makes a good football team. Nothing will surprise me. I'll say that. There's nothing. I might not be happy with who the Bears pick, but I won't be surprised.
I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised. Even if it's a trade back, I think we'll be happy. Because I think if they do make a trade back, they're going to add valuable picks to this draft that is coming up, and they need that. They still need to add multiple players to this defense, and offensively, you have to replace the DJ Moore targets. You have to. I think Khalif Raymond right now is your guy at the number 3 receiver. I think that's what the plan is for the Bears. But if the right thing falls to them in the draft, that could change. So again, in summary, that draft had, just to repeat it, the ESPN one today, Peter Woods to the Bears at 25, Danny Dennis Sutton at 57, Kyle Lewis at 60, and Antonio Williams, who's that receiver who replaced those DJ Moore targets potentially at the 89 pick. I
And I've
fucking
seen
love
a lot of
it. I
mocks with
would
the
be
wide
very
receiver.
happy with that.
Some in the first round. I saw Omar Cooper with the 25th pick by an NBC mock. They're going to get a receiver, I believe.
I think you kind of need one, and I think Ben Johnson loves to have as many weapons as possible. He wants to get that primary guy open, and they're talking about that a lot, needing to get better at scheming that first guy open. But Caleb Williams can make so much happen if that
Right. Think
doesn't
about
happen.
how productive
The amount of
Zacchaeus would
weapons
have
you
been
have,
if he
it
could catch
becomes
the
an
fucking
advantage.
ball.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, yeah. And then Cliff says here Raymond or Walker. Guys, we talked about this a little bit last week. I think Khalif Raymond, or on
So
Monday,
Chicago Clubhouse.
I personally think Khalif Raymond is going to play a very dominant return role.
Well, he is, Brandon, but you don't pay. They just paid Duvernay 1.5 million last year to be their return guy.
Yeah.
They just paid Khalif Raymond $5.5 million, Brandon.
Yeah, and Duvernay played on offense,
Right.
and I think Khalif Raymond can make a bigger impact there.
Duvernay did not. Duvernay had
and
3 catches.
I also don't see
Khalif
Khalif
Raymond has had seasons where he's had upwards of 80 targets. Let's not forget that. Khalif Raymond is going
Production was pretty low on 80 targets, though.
his production dipped in the last 2 years for sure.
And
But
it naturally will continue to because he's getting
No,
slower, and that's his strongest suit.
I personally believe that as of right now, he is your number 3 receiver. That's what they're
I'm
paying
not going to
him
get
to be.
excited over Khalif Raymond, man.
I'm not saying you should be excited. I'm saying that that's what you're looking.
They shouldn't have paid him $5.5 million.
They paid him that though.
I know.
and he's going to be a very
and it's a
important
Ben Johnson guy.
rotation. Yes,
And
Ben
Amon
Johnson.
Ra St. Brown called him the best locker room teammate he's ever played with at high school, collegiate, pro level. So I think he's a locker room guy. I think he's going to be a captain on this football team. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I think he's going to be your special teams captain over Cairo Santos, who can't make a public speech if his life depended on it. But I'm not thrilled about Khalif Raymond making $5.5 million.
Well, the fact that he is, Brandon, tells me
He's
that
the best punt returner in football.
He's not just going to be a return guy for them. They did not pay him like that. They paid him as if they expect him to make a big contribution
I'll
in
say
that
this, man.
receiving role. And I guarantee you that's how it's going to play out if they don't draft another guy.
I was just going to say, though, if they draft a receiver, you can say goodbye to what you just said. If they draft a receiver with a high pick, you won't see Khalif Raymond.
But then that becomes wasted money because you don't pay a punt returner or kick returner $5.5 million a year. I think that they are insulating themselves from, if that receiver doesn't fall to them, they have a number 3 that they feel confident in, and then you got Jaden Walker to kind of split those reps with him. But I think you could see a season in which Khalif Raymond sees 60 to 70 targets.
He's also a gadget player. He had a decent amount of carries on the Lions offense with 2 solid running backs as well. But I just don't think the guy's very good, man. Like, I'm going to say that outright, guys. When they signed him, I was. They took.
I'm higher on him than you. I'm higher on him.
They took care of the replacing the return guy. That I was happy about that,
but that's not why he's here. I can guarantee you.
I'm looking at it right now.
I can see you.
I want to see his statistics in a Lions offense that was first in the league, second in the league, third in the league over the last decade.
Well, the last 2 years, there's not much there.
He had
the 2 years prior to that, he had
71 targets in 2021, 64 targets in 2022, 44 targets in 2023, 22 targets in 2024. That decline happened while Ben Johnson was his play caller.
Well, he was phased out completely last year without him.
He's got 9 career touchdowns and 9 career seasons. I'm not super thrilled about Khalif Raymond being a part of this offense as opposed
to I wasn't super thrilled about Zacchaeus, but he got a lot of targets in this offense. And I think Raymond is that guy this year, that trusted veteran. Ben likes guys that he can trust. Jaden Walker hasn't moved it yet. He just hasn't.
I think Jaden Walker's a better player than Khalif Raymond.
Well, I mean, that remains to be seen. Hopefully he shows that and he earns that trust and he supplants Khalif Raymond in that role. But I think right now, if you were to roll out your starting lineup, like you had to play a game tomorrow, Khalif Raymond is your number 3 receiver.
I think
That's what I
he
would.
had like 14 receptions last year, dude.
I,
Five and a half
I'm not
million.
debating,
That was five. That's
not
ballsy, dude.
debating that.
That's
The Bears
ballsy.
did not pay him what they paid him, and Ben Johnson did not target him specifically just for him to be the punt returner. That's all I'm saying.
If I'm
You
going to tell
better
you right now, listen, don't be surprised when Cleveland has 20 catches on the season. Don't
well,
be shocked.
again, it's going to
Don't
come
be
down to what they
surprised.
do in the draft. If they don't add a receiver in this draft, Brandon, you're looking at Cleve Raymond as your number 3 receiver.
Then
Just
he's
bank
going to have 20 receptions at that
the
position.
number 3 receiver in Ben Johnson's offense is not going to have 20 receptions, Brandon. You're
I think
talking out
that
of your ass. You're talking
didn't
out of
that
your
kid
ass.
Patrick have like 40 receptions on the Lions when Ben Johnson was there?
I think he had more than that
Yeah, I think
because
Jade
Ben
Walker
Johnson's
might fill that
offense
role,
is
dude. I don't know.
dynamic.
I
It's
think
dynamic.
Walker's role is more important than Raymond's.
It depends on how you roll it out. But Ben Johnson talks a lot about what the mentality that Khalif Raymond brings to his
Yeah,
offense,
he
to the
loves the
locker
kid.
room, and he talks a lot about his ability to take the top off of defense, which this team didn't really have.
And he got a lot of carries even last year. He carries
So I
the
mean,
ball.
I could just see a much bigger role than what you're painting right now for him, and I could see that being him giving that role over Johnny
And I
Walker. It's
hope
at least to start the season, the
doesn't.
first 6 to 8 weeks.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm hoping that he doesn't because he's
But
not
why?
that good of a football player.
No, I think opportunity begets production, and if you don't have opportunity, you're not going to get the production. So
He was on a team that Jameson Williams was injured and suspended on for 2 years straight, and he never surpassed fucking 50 receptions, dude.
well, you just talked about the limited amount of targets he had. Again, just don't be disappointed when you're seeing Khalif Raymond get 65 targets in this upcoming season. That's all I'm saying, because I see that in the cards unless you draft a high caliber receiver in this draft within those first 129 picks.
Cliff says Walker catches the ball. Suggett says Raymond's a great addition, and True Pilgrim says they're planning on Jade being. Looks like the chat is pretty split here.
Listen, all I know is what I saw last year from Ben Johnson, and that's what I'm basing this off of. Olamide Zacchaeus was not a better player than Luther Burton. Khalif Raymond might not be a better player than Jade Walker.
Yeah.
But Ben Johnson went with the guy he knew. And he didn't really know Zacchaeus, but he was a veteran. He went with the veterans to start the season for sure. Those first.
Well, I agree with you that the money implies he's going to be more than a returner. Oh, that's
100%.
I'll concede that for sure. He's paid to be
I think
an impact on offense.
Yes,
for sure.
And when you look at what Ben Johnson did last year, leaning on the veterans, even when you saw that younger guys were better players, and then when you look at what he got paid, it's just the writing's on the wall. I don't know if it's going to be a bad thing or a good thing. I don't know.
I agree. Well, I think that's going to be a bad contract. I do.
But I hope not. But like it's just the way the tea leaves. I'm reading them. Khalif Raymond is your number 3 receiver, man. I don't know.
Yeah, which means he's your number 5 target because Komet and Colson Lovin are both going to have more production.
Ben's going to use him like a $2 hoe. Raymond is fearless and has been underutilized to this point.
I think Rome, Luther, Komet, and Burton Loveland will all have more targets, catches, and yards than Khalif Raymond. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means is left for him, but $5.5 million is a lot to pay to that guy, dude.
Yeah.
A lot to pay to that guy. Raymond receptions per year, 24, 17, 35, 47, 48. But I think, are you putting that backwards?
Yeah. He's looking back. The last year's going back, because you were talking about the targets that he had in the 23 or 21 and 22 were the highest of his career.
Yeah, he had 71 targets in 2021, which I believe was his first year as a Lion, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Because he played 3 years in the league before he was a Lion, I believe.
Listen, again, I'm not like pounding the table for.
No, I know. I get what you're right. The contract is very implicative of the role that this guy's gonna. You don't pay. I agree with you, dude. You don't pay $5.5 million fucking dollars to a guy who's gonna just and he's not a gunner either. He's not a tackler. So he's really just a returner if he's not playing on offense.
So you're gonna see him have a role in this offense that's maybe bigger than you want it to be. Again, unless you take Antonio Williams with 129 pick or the 89
Yeah.
pick. So.
Yeah, if they draft a receiver, it's going to be a Ben guy, and it's going to be a guy who's going to play more often than not, I think, when it comes to that last
sure.
receiver role.
But again, that guy will earn it. That guy's going to
And
sit and
Dustin, they
wait
used
for
everybody.
6 to 8 weeks.
You're right. They used Zacchaeus. They used Duvernay. They used all hands on deck last year.
And
Ben
how
Johnson
long
likes to spread it.
How long were we fucking, bare knuckle gripping for Luther Burden to get those opportunities that Zacchaeus was getting? We might be doing the same thing with Walker and Raymond this year, and we might be doing the same thing with whoever that receiver is that they draft, if they do draft one, and Raymond this year as well. It's just Ben likes to have guys that he trusts, that he knows are veterans.
But you do have to pay him. You do have to pay him more than Duvernay strictly because he was the league's leading punt returner, and that's more important.
Yeah, but that's not worth fucking $4 million extra a year.
But a punt returner is much more valuable to me than a kick returner is.
Yeah, and Raymond will do both, and he'll still contribute in the receiving role. So I think that they're going to squeeze all the value they can. That $2 hole, Suggett said, I think they're going to squeeze all the value they can out of Cleveland.
As long as when they run the ball, that guy's not on the football field.
Why? You don't think he's a good blocker?
No, he's not a physical player. His bench press was probably like 6, dude. He's that guy. No.
If you keep going to the bench press, you're a bench press, bro.
I think that makes a good blocker. If you're a strong dude, I think it makes for a solid blocker in the NFL.
Colston Loveland will be your number one target. Yes, Jed, I agree 100%. He's not a wide receiver.
I think most Bears fans have embraced this.
Yeah, but when we're talking about a wide receiver, we're talking about the wide receiver.
Yeah, I know. I made a poll on our 4-stars page. Who's going to be the Bears' number one wide receiver in 2026? And I put Rome Odunze and Luther Burden. And I put wide receiver 1. And everybody was like, Colson, you got to add Colson.
No, but he's not a wide receiver.
That's not. I didn't say pass catcher.
We understand that he's a wide receiver in a tight end's body, but his position is tight end. He will be the number one.
And it bothered me because it was like people thought I was stupid. Like I didn't know Colson Loveland's going to be the number. Like me and Dustin have been saying this since the guy was drafted.
Yeah,
he's going to eventually be the fucking guy, and he is. And yeah, that killed me.
Brandon, let's move on to this.
Yeah, let's talk about. Well, do we want to do the ref thing real quick?
Yeah, no, we do, because it's not going to be a lot. But I just want to talk about it because
we need to draw attention to this.
This is going to be. It's not talked about enough. It's not a big enough story.
I read it and was like,
it's going to be vitally important to how this NFL season plays out. You're in a potential lockout with your referees,
and they've kind of said it's a thing, Dustin.
It's going to happen.
Be a thing. Yeah.
They put in place in this owners meeting that if this lockout were to happen and you roll with replacement refs, because they will do that. They don't give a fuck. They're going to roll with the replacement refs. That there'll be a rule change that New York can jump in and change a call missed on the field only if it's the replacement refs. My thoughts on this, Brandon, if you're listening. What difference does it fucking make, really? Like these referees that were on the field this past year might as well have been replacement refs. They miss shit all day, every day. What difference does it really make? And then my second thing is, this rule might just stay in place regardless, because of what I just said. Should stay in place no matter what, so that we get these calls right. And these games are determined by the play on the field and not these moron referees, whether they're full-time or replacement. I don't think there's much of a difference between a replacement and the full-time because they fuck up consistently. We see it every week. And I think that this rule could be really good and should probably stay in place. And we might see that play out this year, right?
Yeah, and to add fuel to the fire, they released today. I don't know if you saw this. It's not a big deal, guys. I'm just going to mention it real quick. 2 of the female officials from the NFL are suing 3 of the male officials from the NFL for sexual harassment. So that doesn't help either.
I don't know if that plays into this, but
they're suing the NFL and 3 male officials as well. So that doesn't help. But,
okay.
Yeah, I think the rule that egregiously bad, dude, the fact that you have to say this is because of replacement refs is kind of a contradiction in itself. We're going to allow the league to review New York, basically these guys in the booth. We're going to allow them to review egregiously missed calls because of the replacement refs. why wouldn't they review egregiously missed calls no matter who
regardless
the
of
fuck
who
is
the fuck is
calling the game,
refereeing the
dude?
game.
It doesn't
Yes,
make sense.
yes,
If you can
because
use the
that
word
determines
egregious,
people's
yeah,
outcomes
but
and how
but
they get paid and whether you win a Super Bowl. Like
yeah.
these
And you're
things
seeing more
matter.
players publicizing their hate for the refs during having a post game interview. Like, yeah, the refs blew that so badly. That used to be you used to get hit with that fine, and a player would never do it because they were worried about the reprimand from the team or the league. And now they're just like, I'm not gonna. No, there's no way I'm letting this slide, man. That call was terrible. Like you're seeing this pretty consistently at the end of NFL games nowadays. So like it's got to be addressed, and it can't be just because there's replacement officials, man. The calls dude, do you remember the Packers game, the second Packers game? It wasn't a playoff, it was the regular season game where Caleb Williams got like punched in the face, and there
Mhm.
was a ref standing not 3 feet. I mean, like, you got to be able to, somebody's got to be able to come in and say, guys, you missed one bad there. Like, we're doing the quarterback thing's a player safety thing. We can't be missing those calls.
The goal should be to get it right and to make sure that the outcome of the game is not determined by, human error, right? Is that the case or not? I don't know. Like there's been a part of me that's always kind of felt like human error is a part of these games. But as Cliff points out here, like AI is coming into our life. How much is that
Yeah,
going
I
to
love
affect
the challenge in baseball. I love it.
how much is that going to affect how we watch sports and how these games turn out? Because like eventually maybe these replacement refs and regular refs and all of them are replaced by a computer that just doesn't get it wrong, right? Apparently, I don't know.
9 out of 10
You're getting into a
times.
slip. You're getting into a slippery slope there too, in my opinion. But all I'm saying is, if this rule works and the games are less tainted because of it, because it like you said, it looks like this replacement official thing is gonna happen. This lockout
Oh,
seems
it's very
imminent,
Adam Schefter's
right?
reported like it's almost set in
Yeah.
stone.
So like I hope that that happens just so we can see this rule and how it affects how these games turn out. And do the games become better? Is the level of play better because of it? Is our fan satisfaction better because of it? Because the play was was determined in the correct way and they didn't get it wrong, and there's not that the whole thing where we can all go get on X and bitch about how they blew the game, like
Yeah, we remember
and,
the
and does that
South
carry on?
Carolina.
Do you just keep that going forward? I think that that's a real possibility, man. It could change football. It really could. It could change NFL football.
And mistakes have made historical moments in sports just the same as good calls. Remember the South Carolina Michigan game that Clowney knocked the guy's head off in? Before that play, they measured a ball that clearly wasn't a
It was
first
clearly
down.
yeah,
And
yeah,
called
yeah.
there's got to be a system that there's got to be checks and balances for this stuff, man. I mean, it's getting, and I'm going to say this, Dustin. They did the digital measurement last year, and they're doing the challenge in baseball and striking balls, and I like it. I like it. I like
Yeah.
that there's a computer
Why
that's
do you
like,
like it? Why do you like it?
because there's some things that are so egregiously, but like if a umpire misses a call because the ball is a couple of centimeters outside the
Like that's
zone.
okay, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
doesn't mean the umpire's bad at his job. It means he's a human fucking being. If an umpire's missing a call because the ball's 3 inches outside the zone, he's bad at his fucking job, and there should be a check and balance to provide the league the knowledge that the guy you have doing this job isn't very good at it, and he probably needs to be
And to
addressed.
fix it in the moment so
Be-
that the
because
team is not penalized for how bad he is
Right.
at his
And
job.
Dustin, if there's one individual in the officiating world that's consistently being corrected by AI, what does that say about the official? It's time.
Mhm.
Get him the fuck out of here and get a guy who can do the job better. So you're also evaluating your staff that you're paying
Yeah, but
whatever
then like
$200,000, whatever these guys make
where do you get with that?
annually.
Where do you get with that, Brandon? Like where it's only AI making we're just talking baseball right now, I guess, but like the balls and strikes is only being called by AI, but then we lose a very crucial part of baseball, which is people arguing with the home plate up. Like that's a
Yeah, because
huge
they
part
don't
of
know. They just
baseball.
go, well, but you only get two challenges, I think. So there's still that. You know what
Yeah,
I
so
mean?
like if you eliminate that from baseball, does that take away from baseball? If you eliminate the human error in football officiating, is that better or worse? Do we feel like I don't know how I feel about AI and how it can affect all these things in our lives and is that for the better? I
I
don't
don't think
know.
it changes anything because good calls, bad calls go both ways. So I don't know that you're.
Yeah, but
I
like,
don't think it's
who do you
impacting
appeal
much.
to? Who do you appeal to in
The
those
players,
situations?
they want it right.
Hmm.
The players want the call right. So
Jed's Jed's not a fan of the ABS.
I think the players would be more in favor of it, Dustin.
You think so?
Yeah.
Uh, it's a very intriguing conversation, and I think that right, like we're seeing it happen in baseball a little bit, right, and we're about to see it in football. Like, and right now it's a human. It's going to be a human going behind a human. Like these scab refs miss a call, and a human's going to like be seeing it on the
The guy
screen in
who's
slow mo
watching it
and
very
replay,
closely.
and then be like, okay, we gotta turn that around because that's not right. Like I can live with that. But like if it becomes just an AI algorithm is analyzing the game as it's happening, that becomes and making those calls just straight black and white, like that
Well, you
becomes a
always
little
need the home
strange
plate
to me.
umpire though, because you have to call the safer out at home. But
Yeah.
but I'll
I
say
mean,
this
do
too,
you
man.
though? Does
I'll
that
say
change?
this too, though. It is still, so I'll tell Cliff, it's still up to human error. Because if you guys watch and I don't want to have too deep into baseball, if you watch the Cubs, the catcher challenges the play. And our catcher, Carson Kelly, a ball went almost in the dirt. It was clearly a ball, and he challenged it to see if he could overturn it to a strike. And Carson Kelly's, the player's human error, it was a terrible challenge. It was
Because
terrible.
the way it hit the dirt, it was already
It
past the
was an
strike zone. Yeah.
egregiously bad challenge, and Carson Kelly's human error allowed a bad fucking play. So like,
Mm.
you leave that one alone, man. You don't call a challenge on that play that's on the ball that's on the dirt. You don't call that. What are you doing?
This is
So
interesting.
there's still room for error, but now it's on the player.
Listen, I'll just say this. I'm all for the NFL having an officiating system that eliminates terrible fucking calls from the game because that impacts gambling, that impacts our
Impacts
enjoyment
player
when we're
safety.
watching it, impacts player safety, it impacts player income. Just wins and losses, and do you get to the playoffs or not? Like, I am all for that. So I think that this could be a step towards that becoming a consistent thing in the NFL. Yes, it is a 1 year thing and only in this circumstance, but I think what you're going to see is that it changes the game because you're going to see games decided in a better fashion and you're going to see better calls on the field. So I'm kind of hoping that this happens, Brandon, because I think it's a 1 year thing for now, but that they might just hold on to that if they see that it improves the level of play
And
in
you're
that league.
hoping, Dustin, which unfortunately hasn't been the case as of late.
Yeah, for sure, Cliff.
You're
For sure,
hoping,
Cliff.
guys, that there is no egregiously bad missed calls in the NFL, but there are. That's what sucks. Is these guys have, I heard somebody the other day, I forget what radio analyst was saying that like these guys have gotten better and better and better, these officials. I don't know what he's watching.
Yeah,
What
no, it
what
was
play was
trash
it, Dustin?
last year.
I don't know what team it was. I don't know what the player was. There was a play where a player caught the ball as it kind of hit the ground. They called it a
Brandon
fumble.
Cooks, Brandon
Yeah,
Cooks
and
for the
they called
Bills.
it two different games. They called the same play
Yeah,
completely different.
it
One
was
was a
Brandon Cooks for the Bills in the
catch
playoffs. They
and
called
Puka
it a
Nakua
non-catch,
maybe, and
and then Puka Nakua,
one was an
yeah,
interception, one was a
yeah, yeah,
catch, and it
yeah. The
was like,
Brandon Cooks ones. Yep, he
yeah,
he went to the ground with it, but then the guy rolled over the top of him and ended up with the ball in his
yeah,
hands, and that ended the game for the Bills.
yeah. So you're
Yeah.
it's also maybe fixing a consistency problem, right? Where
Hmm.
a play should be called the same way every
Which
time.
I think fans want that
Yeah,
consistency, right? I think we want
Bills
that.
fans do,
Speak.
that's for sure.
Well, I think any fan does because imagine if you're in that position. You remember the Tremaine Edmonds interception for the Bears in that Bengals game that was called back, but like that seemed wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, and it was a
there's
great
a
play too.
mhm.
So yeah, like I said, the
So,
players are probably in favor of a check and a balance, man.
but a lot of the chat is pointing out the gambling that comes with it and how the gambling companies, those sports books can stay on top of the people. Like they have to maintain an advantage over us. So are they maintaining that advantage
I don't want them
by
taking an
being in
advantage over us.
cahoots? But are they maintaining that advantage by being in cahoots with the NFL? Is that a part of this? Does something like this change that in a negative way for those sports books? That's an interesting thing to talk about too. There's a lot that's
I
wrapped
think
into
something
this.
like this would negate that because there's no room for decision anymore. It's the
Exactly,
finger,
but that could be a problem for the NFL and its associates, is what I'm saying.
which is fine with me. NFL's got plenty of money.
It should be fine with all fans, I think. That's kind of my point. That's why I wanted to talk about this because
I
I think
think
if you
AI in sports could be a very good thing, man, and it's going to be very controversial. But I've never seen it the same way as other people. People are like, I like the human error. Well, why? It's error. What other situation in life do you prefer error?
yeah, yeah, I want a little more human error in my commute to work.
Yeah, when I go have a meal at a restaurant, I prefer the chance
Some
of
human
getting
error. Yeah.
a
The
foodborne
wrong.
illness to be a
Yeah.
little higher.
The
You
chicken
know
to
what
be
I mean? Like,
undercooked.
yeah, it doesn't make if people are creating these things, if there's great minds thinking of these AI systems that can fix stuff like this, utilize it, man. That's the beauty of the human mind is we can fix things.
What it comes down to for me, Brandon, is the 2 points that I made to start this. I don't think there's going to be that big of a dip from the full time officials to these replacement officials. I think you're like, what the fuck difference does it make?
Yeah,
I
they're
don't think it
probably
makes
just
it.
college officials,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. They're not going to be any worse than the officials that are
They
running out there
probably
like
came from the same place that the
right.
actual officials came
Yep,
from.
yep, yep. And then the other thing is, if we get the replacement officials, we might actually get a rule in place that becomes consistent, that actually makes the outcomes of these games much less disputable,
More
which I think is
definitive. And Dustin, could
a
we have
much more
used that last
definitive.
year? The
Fuck yeah,
egregious call check? Yeah. Could we have used that
yeah.
last year?
So
Could you have
I'm
looked
kind
at
of
the
rooting for
Jordan
this, man.
Love hit from Austin Booker? Packers fans probably would have wanted to take a look at that. It gives
I'm
you a
all for it.
chance. Yeah.
I'm all for it. Yeah, I mean, let the play on the field decide the outcome of the game, and let the calls be right. And if you can have the New York and these officials like looking at the monitors, make that call right in the moment. That look at how much that changes
Well, you're
just
right,
in the
Justin,
last
because
season.
this is actually not an AI thing. This is not an AI is not going back and like the person's just reviewing this
Hmm.
and stopping the game and saying, we need to take a second look at this. Where like the digital measurement on the ball crossing the line. And guys, there's always room for error because look at where they think about this. I've thought about this before. Think about this. Of all the spots where the referee spots the ball, if you collect all the inches they've been off over the course of the existence of the NFL, it's fucking miles. It's miles. That's always going to exist. When the ref says, "Oh, he looked like he was down here," and puts the ball down, there's a lot of times you're not going to get a good AI is not going to get a look any better than you or me, and the ball's going to be where the ref says the ball's going to be. So you're always going to have room for
Yeah, when there's
officials
a
to miss
dog pile in the
mistakes.
middle there where you're
Yeah,
trying to
you're
figure,
not
like
going to
AI is
know
not going to see that.
at the
No,
goal line when they
yeah, it's
tush
always
push
going
and
to be
30 players fall on top of one
mm,
guy. You're not going to fucking know, dude.
30 players.
Yeah, I exaggerated on purpose
Adding
there.
some players to the field there. I think this is interesting. I think this needs to be getting a lot more attention. And I think football fans should be rooting for these replacement officials to be on the field because I think you're going to see some positive shit come from it. This rule could be very good for you guys that bet. This rule could be very good for just people who, like the game to be decided by the players and decided in the correct way. So I'm kind of hoping that this happens, man. That's all I'm saying.
Cliff says I'm definitely cynical when money's involved. Yeah, and like Dustin said,
This
now
is
the
an
NFL's
interesting story from Cliff.
not going to have an advantage over everyone. Maybe if they are in cahoots with these betting agencies, you know what I mean?
Cliff's got some balls bribing a cop when he was 16, had to call his dad to figure out what to bribe him with. What if your dad had said he wants oral sex?
Jesus Christ. Fear and loathing in Cliff's childhood.
Where the fuck did Cliff grow up, man? Shit. Cliff, where did you grow up that you're
It's when he
bribing
grew
cops
up,
at
man.
16?
That used to be a thing.
Yeah, for sure. But where and when matters too, I think. It's both. But yes,
Yeah,
sir. Correct.
yeah, for sure. Not in a white suburb. Oh, we want to talk about the left tackle thing? Oral sex.
Grew up in Chicago.
There you go. Oh,
Oh,
human
yeah. We
error
have
sucks
two more
sometimes.
topics we want
Sometimes
to
it
get
works in
to.
your
Shit.
favor. Yeah, like I said, Sugget, the bad calls go good and they go both ways. So I don't think that it's changing
Goes both
much.
ways, like Cliff.
Jesus,
when he's
we're
getting
just
a
asking to
moving
bend.
violation.
The Scottish is in on this too. Cliff, we love you. Oh,
Oh God,
I
we have
think
fun here.
the bad calls go both ways. So I don't know how much you're changing, anyways. It's not like the Bears were the only team that got bad calls against them. The Bears got calls in their favor. They did. There's a
Mhm.
lot of people that claim that Austin Booker hit was a low hit or a high hit on Jordan Love. Who knows what a guy in New
Well,
York,
all of those people are correct.
who knows what
All of
a
those
guy in
people
New
are correct.
York says? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Is
it was
is that
clearly a hit to the helmet. I mean,
it was.
but,
I
but
agree. When
Jordan Love lowered his head, so
I
it's like
said that
what's
that
up to
week,
him?
I got
Yeah.
crucified by people like,
Well,
hey,
no, but Jordan Love ducked his head, so I
the
mean, it's like,
helmet
yeah,
contacted the helmet.
yeah,
That's what they're looking for. That's all
but
they
it
care
doesn't
about.
mean it was clearly a penalty in the spirit of the law. But it's not like Booker was head hunting. That was
No, I agree. It
that was
wasn't a dirty play. It
yeah,
was a penalty. I agree. That's what I said. I don't
yes.
think Booker was looking to kill anyone. I think the way that Jordan Love reacted to the hit made it and that's then you're getting into another like our quarterback's going to start to lower their heads to make that a thing. You know what I mean?
Well, that they might be dumb to do that when Austin Booker is coming at him.
Yeah, they'd be real dumb to do that. Real dumb to do that. Career's not going to last very long.
Left tackle, Brandon. I'm just of the. We're transitioning
You know, speaking
pretty
of Austin
abruptly
Booker
there.
taking off quarterbacks' heads, our quarterbacks' heads are falling off.
Quarterbacks' heads are falling off.
Who's the left tackle on this football team? Dustin, I know your answer, but should it be? And do you think
You
Ben
know my
Johnson
answer. Tell me
coaches
what my answer is.
Braxton Jones?
No, no, that's not my answer. Actually, I'm sorry
It's
to disappoint
Wills.
you. I think Jedrick Wills is going to end up being your starting left tackle at some point this season. I don't know if it's going to be. I'll say this: Braxton Jones
It's the revolving
get,
door thing.
getting it's the same thing as last year, man.
Yeah,
And
the
honestly, it's
competition in the preseason.
you start to wonder, is like this going to be just a constant theme with the Chicago Bears team where they can't get the left tackle right, but it doesn't matter because
And
Ben just keeps plugging and playing and
when
figuring
they
it out as
do,
he goes.
their left tackle tears his patellar.
This is one of the most interesting conversations revolving around the Bears in my
And it's
mind.
forgotten about.
I don't know that it's forgotten about, but it's just like there's so many conversations to be had. But this is one of the most interesting to me because you signed Chedrick Wills, you re-signed Braxton Jones, you got Ozzie coming back from this injury, and who knows if he's going to ever come back the way he was before it. And you still have the possibility that one of the better left tackles in the draft falls to you at 25, and maybe you do get that 10-year starter out of that spot. I don't know if you can rule out any of it. I really don't. But from what I'm looking at, when it comes to traits, when it comes to physical ability, when it comes to what I've seen out of Braxton Jones since he's been a Chicago Bear, the way I see it playing out, man, is Braxton Jones starts the season as the left tackle, same way he did last year, based on how they paid him, re-signed him, brought him back. And Jedrick Wills eventually just outplays him in practice, and Braxton Jones plays himself out of that role in the games, and Wills becomes your starting left tackle, and I think he does a damn good job at it. The only other scenario that I won't rule out is that a Caleb Lomu is there at 25, and the Bears say that's the best player on their board, and this guy could be a sneaky starting left tackle right out of the gate. That's the only thing I can see throwing a wrench into that. But I think Braxton's your starter to start, but I don't think he can hold it down. And I think Wills can. I think Wills can be very good in this Ben Johnson offense with the coaching this Bears team has.
Who's Cliff calling Sean?
What are you talking about?
One of the most recent chats says Sean.
Oh, no, I'm Dustin. That's Brandon. Sean's asleep, Cliff.
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, Cliff made a good point here. This was the number 10 pick in the draft. Number 10 pick in the draft was Mills, and Braxton wasn't. And I know Ben Johnson said that all that he needed to say. And I do believe Ben more than I believe another coach in the NFL when he talks, but he did the whole come in the best shape of his, what do you call him? Geek Stokes goat. I don't know word he used.
Yoked.
I that stuff's hard for me to buy into, man. if Will's biggest issue, this guy clearly has a talent to play this position in the NFL. He just can't stay healthy. So if Will's is a healthy,
He
if
just
this is
took a
the
whole
year,
year off. He
if
just
this
took
is
a
the
whole
year it
year off,
works,
man.
then he's your starting left tackle.
He's gonna be.
And maybe Ryan Poles just made the best signing in free agency that anybody in this league
I
did.
think it will be the most underrated signing of free agency for the Bears and maybe for any team in the NFL. I've thought
Yeah,
that since
if
they
he
signed
starts
him.
as a left tackle all year, that it was. I
I don't
mean,
know if it's going to be again. I
not all
think,
year. If he
yeah,
replaces
he
Braxton and
becomes the ultimate starter
and
for
he's
crunch
good,
time for the Bears. Yes, yes.
then you just made the best signing in free agency, and you made it a bargain.
Mm-hmm.
Because could you imagine if a guy who was a top 10 pick plays like a top 10 pick for the first time in his career here in Chicago, like
Yeah.
at that position? I
Yeah.
I would be happy to wave Braxton goodbye as he walks out the door, man.
Well, there's a reason they only did the 1 year contract for Braxton, and they only did a 1 year for Jedrick Wills, but it's at 1.215 million for Jedrick Wills. That will be the steal of free agency if he
Yeah,
becomes
we
the
can't
starting left
pretend
tackle for a dynamic offense in the NFL.
and we can't speak like Braxton Jones' health has been on his side. He's had 3
Correct.
surgeries. He's had 3 surgeries.
What is in Wills's favor is what Cliff brought up. He was a top 10 pick because he has all the traits, all the physical abilities. He just took a year off of football to get healthy and to get right. And he's on a 1 year prove it deal in a dynamic offense that can be very offensive line friendly, especially to the left tackle when you're playing next to Joe Tooney. That's just what it comes down to for me.
Just got to set an edge, man.
I think if you give this guy the opportunity, the sky is the limit, and you might have just stolen a starting left tackle for nothing. I see it playing out that way. Maybe I'm wrong, man. I don't have faith in Braxton Jones, but the fact that they re-signed him the way they did, Braxton Jones, that says that I think they're banking on him being their starter.
Continuity, familiarity, all that stuff, man.
Yeah, but I think Wills ends up being the guy, Brandon.
You
I think
said
we're
it
looking
best, Dustin. It's a trust thing. They trust the guy.
Yeah, but I think we're looking at the same kind of thing we saw play out last year, where they've solidified this interior. A lot of people aren't high on Bradbury. I am. I think Ben Johnson, he echoed this at the owners' meetings. Bradbury is a great fit for his offense. Fits like a glove was his exact words.
And he said the chemistry within the interior line, because he knows Joe Tooney the way he does, will be something that you see on the field.
Played a lot of football. He's going to be great in the run scheme that Ben Johnson, deploys. I think he's going to just fit in seamlessly. And it was really important to them to get a veteran center that had those abilities to replace Dahlman. They went after Dahlman because they wanted to help Caleb get better. And I think this Bradbury trade is just right up that same alley where you got a veteran center who's capable. That's going to really help Caleb, continue to progress. I don't see them missing a beat on the interior, so I don't see it being any different than it was last year at that left tackle spot.
No,
they will cover up for the deficiencies there with their interior blocking.
I'll throw this in the chat too. If Trapillo wasn't injured, are they re-signing Braxton Jones?
No, fuck no.
So I think that says all you need to know. I think they have more faith in Wills being a potential long-term.
There's a reason they went and signed the guy
after Braxton, right? Didn't they sign Wills after bringing Braxton back?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. So they're not content with Braxton Jones being their option.
Am I messing that up?
No, I think
they were very close together.
I think they did. I think they signed Mills almost immediately after Braxton, and I know they don't think Theo Benedict's the answer. We saw that. I think Theo Benedict's really Darnell Wright's injury.
The replacement for the right tackle. Yeah.
So I don't think the Bears love Braxton. I think they felt like they were kind of in a bind, and they made the choice.
And they weren't going to be able to make a big splash, again, unless it's in the draft.
Poles did something very sneaky, man. I didn't even know fucking Mills. I didn't know the story of Mills or Wills. I didn't know the guy.
You didn't even know his name.
A year off. I didn't know the guy had taken a year off to get healthy, and it was a top 10 pick in a draft. All but what was it, 2022?
I think he was the number 6 pick for the Cleveland Browns. Yeah.
So there's some potential here. And guys, these stories don't always, they more often than not don't go the way you want when you're banking on a player's, the revitalization of a player's career. But if it works, God, did you just steal it?
Very low risk, very high reward. And what's funny, Brandon, is that I said that this is one of the most interesting things to talk about regarding the Bears. And since we started talking about it, the chat has shut the fuck up. They have nothing to say about it. They're like, what's going on here?
Cliff is
I,
all over it, but
I think I just think Wills has all the abilities. I think Roshar is a damn good offensive line coach. I think Ben Johnson's offense is very friendly to these left tackles, and the fact that you have these 2-3 tight end sets makes a big difference for these left tackles as well. I think Wills is going to get a lot of support that he never got in Cleveland, where he was left on an island. And I think you're going to see this guy play up to the level that he was expected to play to when he was drafted out of Alabama. That's what I think. And I think the Bears are going to get a fucking steal
there's
out of
that
this.
too, man. I forgot about that. This guy was an Alabama tackle. I mean, these guys are fucking good, man. These guys.
I don't know. Did I talk you into it? Is Will's our starting left tackle, you think?
Oh, when I signed Wills, and I read a little bit about, how high a draft pick he was, and that he had taken a year off. I read the article where he had used a year to rehab. I was like, man.
Okay, never mind. I just the chat did not disappear. I just missed it. It wasn't.
No, it's been pretty consistent.
J2K says this is a wild take. I agree, J2K, but it's what my gut told me the moment that they signed him.
Well, you're doing that thing where you hope the guy's still inside the guy. You know what I mean?
I think that's what the Bears are doing.
The injuries broken this player, or is there a left tackle from Alabama selected at the 6th pick in the draft still in there, man? Because if that's the case, then you get yourself an answer.
But listen, if the injury stuff could be an issue, or he could recover from it and play well and not have those issues. We see that happen all the time too. J2K says his femoral osteotomy, whatever the fuck that means, but it sounds really bad. Listen,
I agree. Like the longer the word,
Phil?
The worse it is. What's up?
They took Wills at 10. Okay, my bad, Cliff. And yeah, it's a gamble, and yeah, it's a wild take, guys. It's a wild take. I understand that. It's just what my gut told me when they made the signing. I love this kid in college. I think there's still something there, and I'm going out on a limb with what I'm saying here. But I don't think it's going that far out on a limb.
No, because it's not. Because the one thing you can assure yourself of is you're gonna see the kid. We saw Benedette, Karan, Trapillo. We saw these guys last year. Braxton. They all played in the preseason. They all competed for the job. You're going to see that all over again. Mm-hmm. It's not Braxton's job as far as this coaching staff's concerned.
And he's not paid like it either.
Every tackle on the roster is going to get a shot.
It's $10 million with incentives, as Scott.
You're going to watch this guy start the preseason with the ones in this week, and this guy start the preseason with the ones in this week, and that guy start the preseason with the ones in that week. That's how it's going to go, because that's what that's the way this team works now. Go out there and fucking earn it, man.
Yeah, and if you don't, you're going to be off the fucking field, just like Braxton was last year, and they'll replace you with a rookie, and he'll play really well in that offense too, because they coach you up really good, and they design, and Ben Johnson designs an offense that helps those guys if he sees them as a weak spot.
You're going to get a good glimpse of what Wills is made of in the preseason. I assure you that. He's going to play some ball. It's not going to be Braxton with the ones, Braxton with the ones, Braxton with the ones. That's not the way it's going to go. This position is not. I'll tell you this, man. There is no fucking way this coaching staff is moving forward with the mentality that anybody,
Braxton Jones is going to establish himself.
Anybody has this job. That's not how this team works anymore. We get to see this. We get to personally see as fans these guys duke it out, and it's fun.
The other part of this conversation, Brandon, I mean, we keep talking about Peter Woods at 25 or Emmanuel McNeil-Warren or Keldrick Falk or whoever that Zion Young, whoever that guy is, TJ Parker, whoever that guy is for you. If Caleb Lomu's there at 25, do you take him? Or if Caden Proctor, as I saw on that mock earlier from NFL Network, if Caden Proctor's there at 25, do you take him? And how are you feeling about that as a Bears fan? And does that guy then become your starting left tackle?
Question is, does Ben?
I agree, Suggett.
And I guess I'll stay true to this sentiment until the draft occurs, man. If somebody's there that Ben Johnson thinks is the answer at left tackle, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's going
I
because
agree.
Ben Johnson is a pass protect offensive line coach. That's his thing. I want you to be able to protect my quarterback. The guy that's
Because I
on
want to
Caleb's,
hit big plays
yeah,
down the field. Yeah.
the guy that's on Caleb's blind side, yeah, he's gonna take him. Yeah, he's gonna take him.
So I mean, like, would you be upset if it was Lomu or Proctor?
No, I don't. I don't like the Bears restricting themselves to anything, and I'm glad that Ryan Poles isn't that kind of guy. Teams that draft the position they need the most in the first round suck. Those GMs suck. They get fucking fired. That's what happens to those GMs.
Yeah, you reach.
Yeah, and you're
You
competing with
reach, I
yourself,
teach.
and it's stupid, and that
And
doesn't.
Phil's saying it right here, man. And again, we're just in the same position we were last year. The thing is that, we had unjustifiable confidence, Brandon. You can go back and look at our shows leading into that season. Like, we were confident that the left tackle would be figured out just because of the fact that Ben Johnson was the head coach. We knew it was going to be a revolving
Because
door,
the entire
and we
coaching
still
staff.
thought it would be okay. Yes, because of Roshar, because of
They brought quality coaches
Declan
in.
Doyle, Eric Bieniemy. We just knew, and we're in the same position this year. And now we have justified reasons to have faith that no matter what, if it's Braxton, if it's Wills, if it's Benedette, we'll throw his name in there too because he's a part of this conversation, or if it's a left tackle that they draft in the first or second round, like, we can have confidence that Ben's going to have the best guy there for the job, and that they have a really good offensive line around that guy that can help that person come along. So I think we're looking at the same exact thing we were looking at last year. And there's nothing wrong with Bears fans feeling confident in that, Brandon. I think the left tackle spot's going to be okay regardless. I really do. But I think Wills is going to end up establishing himself as that guy.
You took a right tackle in the second round last year, who you ended up using as your starting left tackle, and I thought by the end, before the injury, I thought he was doing a pretty solid job. And Dan Rochard had a lot to do with that, and Ben Johnson had a lot to do with that, and Joe Tooney had a lot to do with that, and that whatever player is put into this situation on the Bears offense,
the tight ends had a lot to do with that, Brandon.
Yes, is in the best. Durham Smythe is in the best situation that any left tackle who's aspiring to be a future talent in the NFL is going to be in. If Braxton's playing to get a long-term deal, if Wills is looking to rejuvenate his career, or revitalize his career, if Benedette wants to be a starter and not the Canadian Eagle, if whoever it is next to Joe Tooney, under Dan Rochar, under Ben Johnson, that guy's in the best fucking position possible to be successful, man.
And I mean, Scottish says it right here, man, and this is where I'm at. Jones can't anchor. He's not a good pass protector.
He's got no ass.
We know who Braxton Jones is at this point, and on top of it, he's not shown himself to be able to stay healthy.
I'm with this, Scottish. The anchor thing drives me nuts. The guy
and on top of it, he can't stay healthy. Listen, we know what Braxton Jones is. He's not going to be your starting left tackle halfway through this season. And if Jedrick Wills is the guy behind him, he will be. And I have a lot of confidence, and I shouldn't, but I do, that he'll be better than Braxton Jones. And that's strictly just based on the fact that I know what Braxton Jones is. That's really what it is.
And he wasn't a top 10 pick in the draft, and he didn't play for Alabama. And it's the anchor thing, man. Just constantly watching this guy get pushed into Caleb's lap, just constantly. The ball is snapped, and the guy is in Caleb's face. I mean, Braxton Jones sacked Caleb Williams a few times this year, and
just getting thrown back into it.
Yeah, I'm tired of watching that, man, and we all are. And
well, that's the left tackle conversation.
Like Beyonce is, I need an ass like Beyonce. Okay, over here.
Good luck, Brandon. Happy hunting.
Hey,
I would just say, good for you. I would just say, from my perspective, Wills will be your starting left tackle for the majority of the season and for the most important part of it, barring that they draft a left tackle very high in this draft, which I won't put past them. Those are the two options to me. Braxton Jones is not a part of that equation to me. He's just not. And I think that's fair. I've watched him play.
J2K's mentioned Leatherwood. I didn't get it. I mean, there's those of us who live and breathe and hyper analyze this stuff. Like Leatherwood.
I didn't feel that way about Leatherwood when they signed him.
No, he was not the answer. He never was, man.
No.
It was, and they signed him for dirt, and I was like, okay, sure.
Well, they signed him to the practice squad, I believe.
Plus, Leatherwood was failing at being.
Yeah, he wasn't.
He was moved to guard.
Wills has had health issues.
Injury guy.
He's had health issues. Yeah, he was a first-round left tackle from Alabama. I think
he was moved to guard. Yeah. Leatherwood played guard in Oakland.
Yeah.
So like, he was just a performance guy. He had issues being good. I haven't read a single thing about Wills that said he's not a talented player,
and that he's not a left tackle.
It just all points to his ability to be available.
Yeah.
So,
and if he can, I think he's your starting left tackle for the most important part of your NFL season coming up in 2026 for the Chicago Bears. That's just the point I want to make. I've felt that way since they signed him, and I'm not backing off of it.
I feel J2K, I feel much better on banking on the improvement of health over the improvement of performance. When a guy is made a guard, drafted as a tackle, he's just not good. Like that. I mean,
I think Wills is your prototypical left tackle in terms of what you're looking for: size, speed, strength, ability.
The guys you draft at tackle to move to guard, man, that's one thing. The guys that you draft at tackle to move to guard with the intention of doing so, that's a different story. You know what I mean, Dustin? There's a lot of players where it's like, he was a college tackle, but this kid's going to play a solid guard. The guys who drafted as tackles and suck and then get moved to guard, I'm good on that. Those guys don't excite me.
I feel good that
project.
I feel good that Sugget is with me on this crazy take of mine. Apparently, this is my wild take.
Well, the reality is
it that wild, Brandon? J2K says
no, because he's cost nothing.
So low risk, high reward.
If you get the ceiling from him, you got yourself a left tackle. If you get the injury from him, you paid a guy almost nothing.
Oh yes,
you move on.
But again, like, is him supplanting Braxton Jones? Is the possibility of that crazy?
No, that's happening.
That's totally realistic. Braxton
somebody is doing that. I'd rather it be Wills. And you know what, guys? I'd rather it be Wills than Benedette, because we've also seen Benedette. And Benedette, people were like, this Benedette
not a good pass protector.
He's a hard worker. He looks pretty good. And then he faced Max Crosby, and his story was written.
And before that, Brandon, he wasn't a good.
Closed.
Yeah, and he wasn't a good pass protector before that. He just wasn't playing against guys like that.
Murdered by Max Crosby. He got murdered. That might have been the worst display of left tackle I've seen on the Bears in a decade, man.
That's
Max Crosby threw that guy around, dude.
Listen, Wills is the best pass protector of these guys in my mind. From what I've seen, I watched him play with the Browns. When he was healthy, there's something more there than what I've seen with Braxton Jones in his time with the Bears. That's where I'm at. I think he's the best pass protector, and I think that's what wins him the job at the left tackle spot for the Chicago Bears. And then hopefully Trapello comes back and he's okay. But I don't think you can bang on that. I don't think the Chicago Bears are, because this is a tough injury to come back from and get back to the form you were at. Yeah, exactly. Scottish. And it's a low risk, high reward hot take for me too, because I think the Bears are going to figure out the left tackle position regardless. And, if I'm right, I'll look like a genius. And if I'm wrong, no one will really remember. Yeah, beating out Braxton is a given. Sugget. I agree. Brandon, the guy on our thumbnail we haven't really talked about. We're coming up on 2 hours here. There was a lot we wanted to get into with that. Did you disappear on me? For sure, Cliff. Young guys do heal better. And I'm hoping that
I'm here, man.
I'm hoping that Ozzy can come back from this. But I just don't think you can count on it. I don't think the Bears are. Listen, at the owners' meeting, a lot of interviews with Ben Johnson. I watched the CHGO one. There was another couple ones that I watched. Ben Johnson sat down with a few local Chicago reporters. Um, the main thing that he kept talking about was how he needs this offense to get better, that they left a lot on the field, and he challenged Caleb to challenge himself to be better in 2026. And we wanted to talk about that a little bit. We wanted to talk about that in the frame of this new offensive coordinator, Press Taylor, moving on from Declan Doyle, and how he can help improve that, and what Ben Johnson and this coaching staff need to do to help Caleb continue to progress. Because when you look at what Caleb did, he progressed consistently throughout the season at multiple aspects of his game. And that was just in his first year in Ben Johnson's offense. Now that there's some familiarity, there's a library that he can start accessing. I love that the coach wants the player to challenge himself. I love that the coach wants to challenge the player, and that they both have that relationship where they're both open to that. It definitely goes both ways, though, right?
Yes, and I would love Ben Johnson to challenge himself and his coaching staff.
He is.
And
He
I
is,
agree. I
Brandon.
agree. Caleb Williams starts very slow, and that's got to get fixed. But I've got the numbers here in front of me, Dustin, and you guys. I'm not giving you rankings where the Bears are amongst the rest of the league. With the Bears specifically, though, the yards increased by quarter. The yards per average increased by quarter. The rushing yards increased by quarter. The first is the lowest in every statistical category. They threw for 892 yards total in the first quarter. They threw up to 1,100 yards, 1,150 yards in the fourth. The numbers slowly get better as the game goes on. And I asked AI, what was Ben Johnson known for in Detroit? And what was it that I texted you, Dustin? He's known for processing in the first half of the game to then open up the bigger play in the second half of the game. And I'm wondering, is the development of this too slow? People keep
What do you
saying
mean by that?
well, people kept talking about halftime adjustments. Like Ben and Dennis Allen were really good at changing things to counter the opposing team. I don't know that it's so much that versus Ben is trying to feel his opponent out so that in the fourth quarter or second half more so, he can open it up. But does this need to happen at a faster rate? Because the first half offense on this team was not good.
Like, you feel like he's not letting Caleb loose early enough?
I feel like he's not willing to take the shots early enough. Which when I thought
Well,
did, it was good. I thought when they did so, like in the Dallas game, they were lighting teams on fire. And they didn't do it very often.
that Dallas defense was porous. They were a little easier to take advantage of, I think. But
he's in this processing mode in the first half of the game where he's trying to establish something where the defense now believes this is what they're doing. This is what
he's trying to establish tendencies of his offense that the defense starts to pick up on, and then counter, and then counter that, and catch them sleep.
It's not proving effective when you're falling behind every game and crawling back in the fourth quarter. It's not effective.
That was certainly the biggest story of the offense last year. The thing we kept talking about is, like, why are they so slow to start? Why is it taking them so long to get going? Why does it take, like, for their backs to be against the wall for them to start making plays? We can't forget that. Like, that
why is the scripted offense the worst?
And I think and I think you tend to lay that at the feet of Ben Johnson, and I think it's a combination of both.
Very much responsible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I've been with you on this, man. They're both very accountable for it.
Yeah.
Both coach and quarterback. Caleb clearly gets more comfortable as the game goes on, but it's Ben's job to make him comfortable. So what are we doing wrong here? I don't understand.
Can I throw? Listen, you brought this up earlier when we were texting about what we wanted to talk about. The thing that is different this year from last year is your offensive coordinator, and Press Taylor has experience as an offensive coordinator in the NFL with other, what were considered to be good quarterbacks, right? Trevor Lawrence.
Yes, and he
But
real quick,
real quick,
Trevor
no,
Lawrence.
hold on. I'll get you to that. Give me one
Okay,
second.
all right.
Last year, you got Declan Doyle, who has no experience as an offensive coordinator, and that offensive coordinator is supposed to be that conduit, from that, that head coach to that quarterback, right? That the guy that's in it should be in the ear of the quarterback a lot. The quarterback coach, your offensive coordinator. Declan Doyle was basically being trained on how to be an offensive coordinator by Ben Johnson. Does Press Taylor, having the experience, being a veteran guy who Ben likes to lean on those guys, being a more veteran guy, does that make this offense better? Does that help Caleb grow a little more? Because Press Taylor can bring some things to this that Declan Doyle couldn't, because Declan Doyle was just taking his cues from Ben, and Declan Doyle hadn't been in that role before. Does that
Yes,
make things different this year for Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, and the Chicago Bears offense?
absolutely it does. And I'm going to tell you why. Here's the first sign you're going to see of it, Dustin, and I can almost guarantee you this is when Caleb retreated to the sideline during the 2025 season under Ben Johnson's first year as head coach. It was RJ Barrett who was holding a tablet sitting next to him on a bench because what was Declan Doyle do? Who was Declan Doyle glued to on the sideline?
Who?
Ben Johnson.
Because he was
Right.
learning.
Yes, Declan Doyle was trying to be a play caller in the NFL, and it served his best interest to learn from Ben Johnson and stand next to Ben Johnson and sponge and soak it all in. And whatever Ben wanted him to. Ben let him call plays in the preseason. This was part of Ben's vision too, was to get Declan Doyle to where he needed to be to probably, I would have guessed, Dustin, we both I think agree that trust enough to call plays eventually for this football team. I don't think Press Taylor is going to take that approach. He's not going to be the play caller on this football team. I don't believe that Ben Johnson would ever give him that responsibility. He's been the play caller on a team before. What he will do is hold that tablet next to Caleb Williams when he sits on the bench. I think you'll see Press doing a lot more of that. When Press
That's a
Taylor
good point.
took over as the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive coordinator, Trevor Lawrence had a 59% completion percentage.
Which is
59.
very similar to what Caleb Williams finished this season at, correct?
The first year as the offensive coordinator for Trevor Lawrence, his completion percentage went up to 66. Second year he was with Press Taylor, it was 65. When Press Taylor departed the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence's completion percentage went back down to 60. I think Press Taylor does make an impact on a young quarterback. I think he does help with the fundamentals and the structure within an offense. I think the Press Taylor is definitely going to make an impact, a bigger impact on Caleb Williams. And I'm not saying anything. I'm not disregarding Declan Doyle as a positive influence or as a good coach in any way, shape, or form. He just wasn't ready, without ever being a play caller. I don't know that he was ready to impact a quarterback in such a heavy
He was
way.
a tight ends coach in Denver.
Yes.
He was not affiliated with the quarterback in that way.
Yes. Where Press Taylor has done it.
He's been that guy. He's been a QB coach. He's been
the
an
guy in
offensive
the mic.
coordinator. Yeah.
He's been the guy who's consistently communicated with the quarterback on the field. I think Press Taylor has an immediate impact over Caleb Williams. And I think you're going to see it just alone. You're going to see it specifically on the sideline when they're in the preseason even. I think you're going to start to see this already.
I'm going to do a little sidebar here because I just want to go back to the Declan Doyle thing, because I just want to say I think he made a terrible mistake. I think he's going to end up being a scapegoat for Nick Sirianni at the very best. At the worst, that whole coaching staff gets fired and he becomes a part of it. I think he jumped.
Well, not Sirianni.
Sirianni.
He's with Baltimore.
Oh no, sorry, Baltimore. Yeah.
I like his head coach.
The Eagles were fuck.
Yeah, he refused.
He declined the Eagles thing. Yes, my bad. He would have been definitely done there, but I just think he jumped too early in general. Yeah, I think he jumped too early in general. I think I think he might end up back on Ben Johnson's coaching staff shortly. I think he might have went too early. I hope I'm wrong, because I like him and I hope that it works out for him. But I just think he would have been better served staying with Ben Johnson. Yeah, Minter. He's a defensive coach.
Minter?
Yeah, he's going to be the play caller.
So yeah, you're You're going to take on the play
And he's
calling
got
role.
Lamar Jackson, so like that's a pretty big
But you're
fucking
taking on the
positive.
play calling with a first-year head coach that
Who's a defensive head coach.
could be a
Yeah.
risk.
And
It's all on you.
and
You're
you have
right. He's still a scapegoat.
yeah. And
If things
I
don't
think
work, he's
yeah,
fired.
correct.
Yeah.
Thank you for catching me on that. Yeah, I just remember going back to that when the Eagles thing was in the works. That
Yeah, that would have been a
felt like
terrible
that would
choice.
have he was putting his head on a chopping block. Basically, it's nowhere near as bad in Baltimore. 100%.
No, but he still is. You're still not
He's
wrong,
still
man.
putting himself in that position. Yes.
If the offense doesn't succeed in early, honestly, with a two-time MVP, the double-edged sword that is Lamar Jackson is he's going to carry a little bit when you're a play caller if you're making mistakes. But if it doesn't look good, you're the problem.
Yeah,
It's
for
not
sure.
the quarterback.
So I just think he jumped too early, man. I think he made a mistake in doing it, and I think you're going to end up maybe seeing him back on Johnson's coaching staff at some point. Who knows? But I do think that this change to Press Taylor could be a good one for Caleb Williams because of what you just talked about, how he improved Trevor Lawrence's
And
completion
Cliff,
percentage.
RJ Barrett was glued to Caleb on the sideline. I don't know that I can think of a time where Caleb sat down with that tablet in his hand where RJ Barrett wasn't the guy sitting next to him.
Yeah,
RJ
but
Barrett
Case Keenum, I'm not going to debate
he
that
was on
Case
the other
Keenum
side,
has been in Caleb's ear, was in Caleb's ear
and that's
all
what he's here
year.
for. He's a mentor, but the
Yeah, that's why
coach,
they resigned him.
the coaching aspect of the quarterback was RJ Barrett.
Listen, what they've done, no doubt, Brandon, is put a great support system around Caleb Williams. They've made it the focal point of how they've approached a lot of their
Keenum is a
coaching
coach. He's not a player.
and roster moves.
At this point of
100%.
his career, he's a coach.
Yeah, for sure. But like, I just think that having an offensive coordinator with the experience Press Taylor has in terms of improving the completion percentage of a guy like Trevor Lawrence, in terms of having called plays, in terms of knowing how this shit works on a day-to-day basis,
Working with the
not
first
having to be
overall
taught.
pick.
Yeah, I think that there's just an advantage there for Press that you didn't have last year with Declan because, like you said, Declan and my thought was Declan was doing a lot of trying to learn from Ben and take his marching orders. I think Press is going to bring something more to this and his own take and how he wants to approach things. And it's just going to be more for Caleb to take in and kind of figure out what he likes and what he doesn't like. And I think when you're challenging Caleb to be better, what Ben Johnson's talking about is mechanics, his footwork, his completion percentage. Ben's still talking about that 70% completion percentage. So Press Taylor, enter Press Taylor, who already kind of helped do that with Trevor Lawrence, right? Yes. And even if you get to 65%, like 70% is a lofty fucking goal. That makes you elite. But even if you get to 65%, if you look at what that offense did last year, how many more points is that on the board for this offense with Caleb Williams and these weapons? It's a huge impact. It's a huge difference. So, I mean, I think that those are the things that you're focusing on with Caleb is just his ball placement, his timing, and his accuracy, and all that's going to go to his mechanics and how he's setting up his footwork. That's what they're going to be focusing on with him.
A little deeper into this even, man. So Trevor Lawrence in 2021 played 17 games, the same as 2022. Enter 2022, enter Press Taylor. In 2021, as a rookie, he threw 602 passes. Trevor Lawrence. He completed 359. Okay. In 2022, he threw 584. So
less passes.
20 less pass attempts, and he threw 387, almost 30 more yards or 30 more completions. 30 more completions on less attempts. His yards went from 3,600 to 4,100. Okay, this is with Press Taylor as the voice in his ear. His average went up an entire yard, which is a big deal in the NFL. And his QBR, now I can tell you his rating, his passer rating, it made a huge.
I don't like QBR, but go ahead.
His passer rating went up tremendously, went from 71 to 96.
I like that. Yeah.
His QBR went from 39 to 57. That to me, because that's the overall play of a quarterback. That means you're getting involved in more ways. He's running the ball. He's getting first downs on his feet. He's doing more. You know what I mean? So I think there's no doubt. Oh, and by the way, his interceptions as a rookie, 17. Enter Press Taylor, 8.
Well, Caleb's already good in that role.
Press Taylor
not turning the ball over.
as the play caller, guys, remember Press Taylor was not the quarterback coach of Trevor Lawrence. He was the OC. So there's no disputing that this guy made an immediate improvement and impact on a first overall generational talent that was Trevor Lawrence. I don't see how he doesn't bring at least a little bit of that with Caleb Williams, regardless of who the quarterback coach is
And when you
there.
say Ben Johnson needs to challenge himself, I think he is. I think if you listen to
Of
him
course,
talk,
he always will.
he 100% sees where his coaching could have been better, his time management could have been better, his play design could have been better, getting those primary receivers open better. Those are all things that he's talking about. And he's going to be working, he's self scouting with his coaching staff and trying to figure those things out to where they can help Caleb improve. I just think it's a good thing that you have a head coach that wants his players to challenge themselves to be better, even when they had a successful season and they've already improved. That improvement doesn't stop. And I think Ben Johnson holds himself to that same standard. So I think you're going to see the improvement across the board in the play calling, in the scoring, not just in the third and fourth quarter, but starting from the beginning. And I think Caleb is obviously your most integral role in that. And you can't leave those completions on the field. We all know that. Like Caleb missed some throws last year that he shouldn't have. And the receivers dropped some passes last year that they shouldn't have. There's a lot of things that go into it. I just think we should feel lucky to have a coach that's that intensely focused on that improvement and challenging his players to ascend to that level, man. I
Yeah, and
just feel good about it.
I think when you're looking at the improvement in the passing average from 6 yards to 7 in Trevor Lawrence. Okay. So the yards didn't increase drastically. I think that Press Taylor improved Trevor Lawrence on the intermediate and short throws. And that's where Caleb doesn't necessarily throw poorly in those areas. He just doesn't take those throws.
Yeah,
He's
seeing it and just letting
infamously
it go.
known
Yeah.
for overlooking that. And I
And
think
trying
Press
to take
Taylor,
the big play.
yeah, I think Press Taylor can have a major impact on what the defense gives you
Well,
mentality.
that's an impact on not just on Caleb Brandon, but on Ben Johnson because Ben Johnson wants those big plays too, right? But maybe sometimes, maybe Press Taylor like getting it in their head, maybe we can take a little bit of this shorter stuff quicker and just keep moving those chains. Maybe that influence will be good for not just Caleb Williams, but Ben Johnson as well in terms of how he installs this offense.
Yeah, I think and we'll stick to the Caleb Ben conversation, but I do believe that as Bears fans, we were all happy to see an internal promotion as opposed to externally hiring an OC, but I think we overlooked it a bit. I do. I think we took it for granted that like, Ben took a guy that he trusts, he took a guy that's been here. Press Taylor's the offensive great, nice. Ben Johnson's the play caller. So Press what I think we had the same mentality. Am I wrong here, Dustin? We had the same mentality with Press Taylor becoming the offensive coordinator of this football team that we did with Declan Doyle. And I don't think that the Bears fans, I'm going to tell you now, if I were you, I wouldn't perceive this the same way. You're not hiring a rookie. You're not giving a guy an opportunity. You're not bringing a guy in to learn underneath you. You're giving the job to a seasoned veteran who has been the play caller on a football team for a quarterback who drastically improved. If Ben Johnson's smart, and he is, he will value that. That is not something to overlook on Press Taylor's resume. He made an impact on a young quarterback, and he made a drastic impact within one season. He made Trevor Lawrence a far better player than he was as a rookie. Caleb's going into his third season, and he's going into his second season with the same implemented offense, same implemented scheme. So if Press Taylor can just help fine tune the little things in Caleb Williams, he's not going to make a major impact on Ben Johnson's offense. That's not where I think he needs to be effective. It's not going to be helping him. It's not. He's not going to be bringing new plays to Ben Johnson. He's not going to install new things to Ben Johnson's offense. I don't see that being a very likely scenario. What I think he will do is help Caleb learn from what he sees when he's watching that tablet on the sideline. What did we do wrong? Because Ben Johnson's focused on a football game, right? Ben Johnson can't sit down with Caleb and tell him we need to go over the last drive and see what we did wrong, see what we can do better. Press Taylor is the kind of guy that can sit down with you and say, "We're going to we're going to take the tablet, we're going to watch the last drive, and I'm going to help you fix the things that didn't go right, man." So that doesn't. I don't know if you were listening. I think
No, I wasn't.
I think the fan base perceived the Press Taylor promotion a lot like they did to Declan Doyle and Hire. Oh, he makes coffee. He's going to work till midnight.
Yeah, he might be more
It's
than
not the same thing. This guy is not here to learn to be an offensive coordinator under Ben Johnson like Declan Doyle was. So we
that's a
look at
huge part of it, Brandon, that people aren't considering. Yeah, you're right. That's what
this
I
guy
actually
is,
thought was too.
yes, he's here to help Caleb.
Mm.
That the promotion of Press Taylor was because he's, like I said, this Dustin, he's not going to install offense. Ben Johnson's got that under control, but Ben Johnson needs to stand on the sideline and control the game because that's what a head coach needs to do. Press Taylor is going to be much more involved in sitting on the bench with Caleb Williams and looking at what went wrong.
Analyzing, dissecting what happened, and how to improve it in the game, where maybe it doesn't take so long to get those adjustments made to get that offense
And
pumping.
I like RJ Barrett, but a guy who's called plays for a young quarterback in Trevor Lawrence can make a much bigger impact over Caleb Williams than an RJ Barrett who's spent his entire coaching career as a quarterback coach. And where he's working more, I think RJ Barrett's working a lot more on the fundamentals. You know what I mean? Your footing with your footing was bad on this. Like you didn't, you know what I mean? Like your drop back was terrible. Your hitch wasn't right. You've got to let the ball go here. Where Press Taylor is going to, I think, have a really, really big impact on Caleb seeing the field.
No,
What did you misread? What did the
and I
defense
think
do that fooled you? What can we do better next time?
I think Press Taylor could help Ben Johnson too. Ben Johnson is open to that help, and Press Taylor is bringing
Yeah, well,
more
J2K
experience
says
to
has
this
a
role.
library of plays.
Answers. And Press Taylor can help Ben Johnson too, who is a second year head coach. Like the overall, I think it's just better to have this offensive coordinator that has play calling experience, that has multiple years of experience, and it's been pointed out he's Zach Taylor's brother. Ben Johnson has a really
And
good
he was the
relationship
passing game
with
coordinator on
him.
this football team.
Yeah. So I mean, he's already familiar with Ben Johnson's system now. Having worked a year within it, and so it's an easy transition in that regard. But he also brings more to that role than Declan Doyle did, because
Absolutely.
Declan Doyle had to learn on the job,
It's not a rookie.
whereas Press Taylor doesn't have to. So yeah, I think that's the X factor in terms of when we're talking about Caleb and his offense improving and working towards that elite with Ben Johnson at the helm. I think he's a huge X factor that we're not considering in terms of that conversation as much as we should be.
Yeah, then that's kind of how I led this. Is
J2K said this too.
You overlook it because Ben is so in control of this offense. It's Ben is the composer, but you tend to overlook when we hired Declan Doyle, Dustin, on this podcast. We made a joke about it. We liked Declan Doyle, but we made a joke about it. Like, this guy's going to be up till midnight. He's going to be making coffee for Ben in the morning. Like, this guy's going to be worked to death. Press Taylor's not that dude. He's not a guy who's learning how to be a coach in the NFL. He's a guy who's coached in the NFL and is going to help Caleb learn how to be a quarterback in the NFL, and that's huge to me. It's far undervalued.
For sure, and as much as it hurt to watch Declan Doyle go, because you're looking at him as this up and coming guy who's going to only get better with the Bears, this could end up being a blessing in disguise in terms of what this Bears coaching staff and Caleb Williams actually needed in terms of them hitting that next level. This might actually end up being the better option for them.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Good way to look at it.
And at 4 stars, guys, we wish all the good fortune to a guy like Declan Doyle. I'm really glad that Ben and Sean Payton saw something. Obviously, saw
and he's earned
light
it. Yeah.
in this kid. Yeah, and he's the next thing. He's the protege. But let him do the learning process somewhere else, where you get a guy here that can help Caleb more than
right now to go win a Super Bowl. Yeah. So I mean, like, I guess it comes down to when you look at the way the coach is approaching everything, and the coaching staff, like it only lost two pieces, and they replaced them with really good pieces too. Even the running backs coach, Studs. What's the name?
I
Studs.
think it's studs.
Yeah. Some Studs. That's his nickname or whatever. I'm blanking on his full
The
name.
young
But
guy, yeah.
no, he's
He
not
was an
young. He's
NFL
got a
running back,
lot.
wasn't he?
He's got a lot of experience as a running back coach in the
And he
NFL.
was an NFL running back, wasn't he?
I don't remember. I don't know. I just know that he's been an
Yeah,
NFL,
Sean and Kyle
running
did a
back
show
coach
about him. It was a good show. Yeah, they kind of gave you the
consistently,
background
you
on
know,
him. Yeah.
for a long time. He's not that young, I don't believe. But I mean, all I'm saying is that they replaced him with two very competent guys with a lot of experience. So like this coaching staff in its second year is only going to get better. Caleb Williams improved so much in that first year while these coaches were still figuring each other out and their players out. It I think if Ben's calling on Caleb to get better and improve these things, I think that's happening because I think the proof is in the pudding. You've already seen it that those improvements happened last year as they were on the go, and now you got a whole nother off season to work those things in with this new Press Taylor advantage. We both think it's an advantage. I think Caleb's going to take off like a fucking rocket this year, and this Ben Johnson offense is as well.
Yeah, what's most important, man, is the way you led the
Studsville, yeah,
segment. It's Ben
Scottish. Thank you.
Johnson who holds people very much accountable, guys. Very much accountable. When Ben Johnson says to somebody, I'm challenging you, that's your boss telling you to do better. That's what Ben Johnson is. He's not a it's accountability. And everything we've seen from Caleb Williams implies and implicates to me that he's gonna rise to it because that's what the fuck he
That's what he
wants.
wants, and that's what he wants. He wants
That's
to
what
be
he
coached hard. He wants to
is.
be challenged,
He wants
and
to
he
be
has
the
the
best.
yeah, and he
And
wants to be the
that's what he
best,
does. He
and he has the
aspires.
physical abilities to do it, Brandon.
Good, better, best sums Caleb Williams up.
Hmm.
I need to be better. I'm good. I need to be better, and I'm eventually going to be my best. That's what
Yeah.
Caleb Williams is to me, man.
So
That's why I love this kid. We had people in the chat on Monday saying, "How could you pay Caleb?" Or on Wednesday show, last night's show, "How could you throw the bank at Caleb Williams with the completion percent?" Caleb is going to fix his problems. I assure you of that. That's his number one
and
goal.
and even if the completion percentage is never as high as you want it to be, he's going to outweigh it with everything else that he does, Brandon. And
Yeah,
and the thing that we haven't talked about, how much of a leader he
his
became for
teammates
this
love. They love
how
him.
much of a leader he became for this franchise in his second year with a brand new head coach. How much faith and love that these guys they'll go to war for Caleb Williams, and it's only going to get better this year too. So I mean, like, there's so many things that will continue to improve. And I love the way Ben Johnson looks at it. He's like, we could have been better here. We could have been better here. And it bothers him. But then he turns around and looks at it and says, well, look at all this area we have to improve. How much better can we get if we left 80 plays on the field that we could have made? What if we just start making 40 of those this year? What's that offense going to look like? And what's Caleb Williams going to look
And
like?
they're so
And I
in
think
sync.
mhm,
Where like Ben says, like, well, look at all these places we could have been better. And then they talk to Caleb Williams 10 minutes later, and he's like, look at all these places. It's just like
mhm,
Caleb,
they're
when
on the
you
same
tell
page.
Caleb you could have been so much better, Caleb embraces it and believes it. It's not like I'm the fucking shit. What are you talking about? These guys could have been better. No, Caleb is like 100%. 100% I could have been better. And I'm gonna be. And they finally the quarterback is finally an extension of the coach's mind, man, which we just I don't know. Doesn't in your lifetime has that happened here in Chicago
No,
with this Bears organization? Can you guys think of a quarterback coach tandem
what are we talking about? Jay
in
Cutler and
Chicago?
Mike Martz?
Yeah, right.
No, we're not
There was
talking
always a piece missing, right?
Matt Nagy and Mitch
When the
Trubisky.
quarterback felt like I liked Cutler, but I never liked the guy in his ear. And then sometimes I liked the play caller, but I didn't like the quarterback on the field. This is it. You've got it
Mhm.
here now. Yeah, yeah. Zach
Yes.
Taylor is Press Taylor's coach.
Yeah,
Who
and
had a Super Bowl appearance. Yeah.
it was also funny that Ben Johnson talked about how he almost became a defensive coach for Zach Taylor because he was trying to get him on his roster, and he didn't have any offensive spots, so he almost
I
hired him.
think Ben is.
Ben talked about that in those
I think
owners meetings.
Ben is really into defense, man. When he gave the little 5 minute bit that he gave about Kobe Bryant, I was like, this dude lives and breathes
Did you
football. top
Did
to
you hear
bottom.
what he said about what they're looking for on defense? Did you hear the words he
Trained
used?
killers.
Ben Johnson is psycho. He's a psycho.
He said, "I
So
want
when
trained killers." Yeah.
and I think Caleb is too. I think when Ben calls on Caleb to be better, that's the result we're going to get. And as Bears fans, we should just really be happy that we got that head coach quarterback tandem that are on that same page and that both want to be better, and that they're both trained killers too. And we're going to see that come to fruition this year.
Nice, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
Just-
another thing. This George Gervin thing.
Yeah,
That's
fuck off.
funny.
Dude, did you hear Skip
You're gonna
Bayless?
file. You're
The
gonna file for your
response?
trademark 4 days after Caleb Williams files for it when you've been holding on to that nickname for fucking 50 years. Get out of
And
here.
did you watch Skip Bayless's response? He actually went on air and did that. Did you watch that?
Yeah. I saw something about it.
Caleb tweeted him back like "fuck off," and Skip
Mhm.
went up. I hate that guy, dude. That guy sucks. Why does he have a job? I don't understand. He's telling
Well-
Caleb, "Well, Gervin's is the original." Like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Well, having the nickname and having a trademark are two very different things.
Yeah, and Caleb
Having a
hit
nickname
him with
and
the
having
definition of steal.
Yeah, yeah.
It's taking somebody's property or making a habit out of, like larceny, basically making a habit out of consistently taking things that don't belong to you. Caleb didn't do that, so fuck off. But do you want it real quick, man?
100%
This
stuff he has.
can we? I do want to.
Nah, man. Let's wrap this shit.
No, okay. I'm going to say it real quick, guys. I'm
It's
almost
been
done.
2
I'm
hours and
almost
50
done
minutes.
with this Bulls organization. But what was done to that player is not right. It's not constitutionally right. It's not right by any met. The things that the NBA will tolerate versus a guy who speaks strongly about his religious beliefs is outrageous. And the
Well, it's
Bulls
not just the
fans were-
NBA, Brandon. It's the NFL too. It's
It's
all.
the politics that's in everything
Mhm.
now, man. And a guy should be able to voice express his religious beliefs, and it's ridiculous that a guy loses his job when other people are beating the shit out of their wives in front of their children. Man.
Well, Brandon,
It's
constitutional rights versus rights
no, it doesn't protect your job. I get
under an
that.
employer are two very different.
But
That's important too.
it means something that your country believes it's something you should be able to do versus
I don't think he did anything wrong. I think the Bulls are stupid to waive him because I think he's going to still be a damn
He's on the
good
Lakers
player in
now.
the NBA. and you just wasted, you made that trade, and I was actually excited about that. And then it's just very bullsy to waive the guy, a couple months later when he hasn't really barely
And
played for you. He's
who was
injured
traded for
because
Ivey,
of
Coach?
him voicing his opinion.
Who they trade for Ivey?
No, it was the point guard.
Kobe. Who was it?
No, it was the backup point guard that they signed last year, 2 years ago. Bald dude, man. I'm blanking on his name. The veteran point
Carter?
guard. Yeah, Andre Carter in like a second round pick.
Jalen Carter, I think.
No, it was Andre. Is it? No, I don't. It was Carter for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Like they got him for nothing. I thought it was a steal, and I was very excited about Jaden Ivey being on this team. And I think to just waive the guy outright, and then to say we stand up for our players and we want to be,
it's
we
detrimental to
want
your
to preach
team.
acceptance, but then what do you accept? What are you willing to accept? What are the Bulls willing to accept?
Well, who do you
They're willing
speak
to
for?
accept. They're willing to accept mediocrity. They're willing to accept
Who
losing.
you speak for? It's detrimental to our
Fuck you.
team because your teammates came out and said we support Ivey. What's detrimental to your team?
Josh Giddey didn't, but Josh Giddey
he needs help. Yeah,
Josh Giddey
Josh Giddey needs some help of
was
his own. I
on the
think.
hook for statutory rape at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. Like
Scottish Jaden Ivey had some things to say about being forced to support the LGBTQ community during the NBA.
He said that the
on
NBA
Pride Night.
He said that
players.
His words were, Brandon, that the NBA celebrating gay pride is akin to celebrating unrighteousness.
And the NBA during Pride Night makes the players wear this whatever a sash or some sort of rainbow something, and he was just stating I shouldn't be forced to do this if it's not what I support in my religious beliefs, and that got him cut from the fucking team, and now the Lakers have him, I think, and he's gonna tear shit up over there for a team that's gonna make the playoffs.
What I find funny is that I believe that I grew up in a mixed household, raised by a black man, He wasn't the greatest man, but like from what I know, most, if not all, of these dudes in the NBA and the NFL, these black males, how they were raised, they all agree with Jaden Ivey.
Well, it's religious based. It's
Yeah,
not a
but
hate.
yeah, exactly. It's just
It's
what you believe. But like they all
stand
probably
firm on
share
which
those
you
same
grew up
beliefs, but
believing,
they
man.
just wouldn't come out and say it in that way. But I guess that's where Jaden Ivey fucked up. But the reality is the league that he plays in, most of the players agree with him and support him. I would imagine, whether it's behind closed doors or
Oh, they
not.
do. They do. 100%.
Yeah.
And guys, you in
So
the chat
that's
can
what's
feel any
funny
way
to
you
me.
want about it. But the fact of the matter is, what is tolerance? If you believe that people should be tolerant to the way they live their lifestyles, whether it be belonging to the LGBTQ plus community or being religious, what is tolerance?
Yeah, you can't
Let
tolerate
people
one but not tolerate the other. Like
let
that,
people live their fucking life.
because then that becomes intolerance.
And a
So
player
what do you
saying
want to be tolerant?
he didn't say he's opposed to this community. What he said is, when the
Don't
NBA
make
is
me
telling
support
you
it.
you need to be a part of something that goes against everything you stand for, you should be able to voice that, and that's ridiculous, man. And it needs to not be a thing.
Yeah. So like
Politics need to be removed from sports entirely. We've said this forever, Dustin. You and I, these guys, we don't care about their opinions, but we certainly don't want and as
what's up,
sports
Kyle?
what's going on, Kyle? We certainly don't want the people in sports run these billionaires running these organizations, forcing shit over people who have religious beliefs in which they're grounded in. You can't change that from somebody. And shame on any player who's not Jaden Ivey, because if it is your religious belief, if this is what you stand on, you shouldn't conform. You should stand strong on what you believe in, and that's just how the world works, man. So what is
What if
tolerance?
what if you had
It
a
doesn't
Christian
exist.
Brandon? What if you had a Christianity night and you were trying to force a homosexual
Yeah.
to participate
How
in
well
that?
would that go? And you think if a guy came out and said, I'm not gonna stand up for Christians, I'm not doing that, think he'd be cut?
No.
No, it doesn't work that way. No.
Yeah,
No.
that's
It's
it. So
manipulated. It's
the tolerance
politicized and
needs to.
manipulated.
I guess the point is the tolerance needs to work both ways. And I mean, whatever side of the aisle you're on, I don't really give a shit, man. Like I don't judge
But let
someone for how they
people
choose
be
to live
them.
their lives,
Right?
but let them
Yeah.
live their lives and be who they are. Yeah, and I mean,
Yes. Stop
at the
telling
end of the
people how to
day,
be, man.
it's an ugly business
Yeah, and the
in
Bulls
regards to
lost a
that.
good player, and the Lakers are gonna good fucking get a solid player when they're
Mhm.
going to the playoffs.
Catholicism is a false religion, is what he said.
Yeah, he's a Christian.
You know, again, that stuff all gets crazy to me. I just think at the end of the day,
Catholicism is Christianity, but
yeah, it's a branch of it, right? You should just be able to voice your opinion without that being what it comes down to. Because, like you said, if it was the other way around, it would go quite the opposite.
you
Like,
should never be
that
canceled for
seems
the things
unfair.
you believe, man. Like if you believe something, you should believe it. Don't conform. Don't think that you have to believe something else because it's what you're supposed to believe. That's life, guys. If you believe what you believe, that's what you believe. I mean, that's how life works. Don't tell
Yeah,
somebody how to think. And it's a shame that the Bulls lost a quality fucking basketball player after they traded a player to acquire him. It doesn't do the Bulls any favors. I'll tell you that right now. And it
I
wasn't the
swear I thought his
NBA.
name was Andre
It wasn't the
Carter.
NBA
I
that
swear it's
made this
Andre Carter.
choice. This was the Bulls that made this choice, not the NBA. The Bulls made this choice. So,
Yeah, it was funny to me to hear Billy Donovan come out and say we stand for acceptance and standing up for our guys, but as soon as this guy said something that could fuck up your money or whatever, acceptance is out the window, standing up for your guys out the window, and again, what the Bulls do choose to accept in terms of what they put on the court, in terms of what they're showing to their fans and giving their fans, in terms of a competitive basketball team, it's like you're accepting bullshit. Like it's just all hypocrisy to me. Like
yeah, and let me make
you're
it.
not standing up for your guy, and that's not acceptance. That's
And
not what it
I
is.
support all communities, but even the religious ones. So don't. There's no one way road here, and it's a shame on the Bulls for doing what they did. If you even want to reprimand this player and give him a suspend, you do what you got to do and say, hey man, on your live streams, don't say things that might get us put a spotlight on
Yeah,
this
and I think he
organization.
was asked a question,
You
right?
don't
He was just
fire a
answering it.
fucking player from his job, dude.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you're hurting yourself, and it just shows why the Bulls are in the position they're in the first place because you went and traded for this guy, and then you're waving him, and he could have been an important part of your team going forward. That's what bothers me the most. I mean, maybe
What bothers me
JTK.
the most is you can beat the shit out of your wife in front of your children and get a game suspension and not lose your fuck. You should never play in the
Well,
NBA
I think
again,
you're talking about. I
ever
think you're
again.
talking more about the NFL in that regard
No,
than the NBA.
Bridges had a 30-game suspension
Yeah,
for beating his wife to death in front of his children,
beating his wife
and
to death.
he's back. Well,
Granted,
he beat the hell out of her, and he's back.
yeah,
He's playing. The guy's playing basketball today, right?
yeah.
So, what is detrimental to your team? What does that mean? Because
Well,
I'm pretty sure there's a couple guys in the locker room that don't want to fucking play with that guy. That's just my guess.
yeah. I don't. Was he being intolerant though? J2K, you say he wasn't being tolerant. Was he being intolerant? I don't know. Like it's just he has his
I think
beliefs
he's tolerant of the community, but you cannot force somebody to be a
to
part
be
of
a part
something
of it. Yeah.
that contradicts their religious belief. That's just life. You can't do that. That's just how it works. That's how. What about the guy who didn't want to bake the cake for the gay wedding, man? I mean, like it's not the first time we've heard this story. People have a right to do what they want based on what they're grounded in, and you cannot fire somebody from their job because of something that's been a part of them since they've existed. That's the problem here.
And
Because if a guy came out and said I'm a gay player, you can't cut him from your team, right? Because that's his reality. That's his truth.
but the reality on that, Brandon, is that there was a time where that probably might have
Absolutely, and it was
happened.
wrong.
So
It was wrong,
yeah,
100% wrong, and I would have defended it the same. That's wrong.
yeah. So, but it's like you can't go so far the other way that it
I think
becomes.
I think I think the whole Christian Wilkins thing is something that I don't know what happened there, man. But
Well, J2K says he got a little weirder. He also criticized NBA players, LeBron and stuff. Now you can do that, but those guys make the money in the NBA, and they're going to decide your
yeah,
fate. So, like,
who was the ESPN analyst that said the problem with Ivy was he just isn't good enough? Because if LeBron James came out and said the same shit that Jaden Ivey said, you think he's cut?
but LeBron James would never say that because he's smarter than that. Even if he believes it, he would never say it. But I think if you're kind of biting the hand that feeds you, if you're talking about LeBron and I haven't looked into it enough. J2K, I heard what was reported.
I watched like
Let see
6
it.
minutes of it, man,
But
and I never heard anything
he's
that
saying he got weird. But again, if you start talking about LeBron and stuff, those guys are your money makers in the NBA. So like the NBA ain't gonna fuck with that. It might not even be on that on the gay stuff, you know. So I don't know, man. You feel a little more strongly about it than I do. At the end of the day,
it's not about how I feel. It's about how Jaden Ivey feels, and a person shouldn't be fired over the way they feel, man.
Well, but maybe if what JTK is saying, maybe Jaden Ivey's feeling a little off right now too. Because like, why would you go on Instagram and do all that?
Yeah, it's
There's all this
stupid. But
extra
Jaden
shit.
Ivey
Yeah.
could have come out and said, "I don't support any of it. I don't support the community." That's Jaden Ivey's right, guys. Maybe he doesn't have the right to say it. Maybe it's
Yeah,
dumb.
but it's also
But
the
it's-
NBA. It's also
I
the
su-
employers.
I
It's
support
also the
all
employers'
communities.
right.
I want to make that clear. I support all communities.
It's also
But
the employer's right to not employ you anymore.
but
if
I think
that's
we
what you do.
painted this in the best light. If that community came out, if somebody from that community came out and said, "I don't support religion, I don't support people who belong to the religious community," they wouldn't be looking for a job today. That it's a double standard. It doesn't work the same way both ways.
Well, but the thing is, I mean, if JTK is he really a Laker? He was signed by the Lakers.
Well, he's meeting with them. I don't know if he's. I
Well,
don't think he's actually signed, but he's meeting with them.
you said he's a Laker, like as if that happened. I haven't followed it that
The
closely.
Lakers have reached out to Jaden Ivey. I know that.
Okay, but I mean, like, if he was criticizing LeBron, the Lakers wouldn't sign him if that mattered. You know, I don't know, man.
Jaden Ivey is not going to remain without a job. He will be on
he's gonna
he will be on a basketball team
think
because
he's
there
gonna
will
be a
be a
good player.
team that doesn't treat it the same way that the Bulls did.
I think at the end of the day, like a good player, you want to keep on your team. I think Jaden Ivey's going to be a good player. But either way, listen, this has been an awesome show. I've had a lot of fun.
Keep voice next.
He didn't CAA about the cash. Good on him. He will get paid. We appreciate you participating with your voice to text, man. We appreciate everybody We had Cliff in here, J2K, you, Sugget, Kyle jumped in, Scottish,
Cliff.
John S,
Cliff,
Jed.
staying up late, man. We
Yeah, I
appreciate you.
said
brother.
Cliff already.
He's usually telling us he's going to bed.
I feel
Kyle
like,
jumped in there at the end.
yeah, I feel like we had more earlier on. I'm kind of
Shy Tech
blanking on
said
who it was. We didn't have any new chat members tonight, which kind of sucks because I always like.
Yeah, J2K, we appreciate you, brother, as always. Love you, man.
Phil, we
Appreciate
missed.
you being there.
Yeah, we don't want to miss out on Phil. Everybody who was in here tonight, you guys were fucking awesome. Really good text. Really kept it going. True Pilgrim. Let's not forget to mention True. He's always one of
Scottish. We appreciate you, brother.
And Cliff sums it up the best right here, just to end that. Leave the politics and the sexual preferences out of sports. If someone makes inappropriate comments, you can judge them on that. For sure. But like Jaden Ivey could have left it out of there too. You know,
leave it out of movies, music, sports. Nobody cares about your politics. Leave the shit out for sure. I agree with that.
Jaden Ivey could have left
athletes,
it out. Nobody cares about your religion.
Musicians, nobody gives a shit. You don't even live the life that us Americans live.
You can say the same thing about Jaden Ivey, Brandon.
That's what I just said. That I agree with that.
Yeah.
Stop voicing yourself. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like certain things are going a certain way, and maybe people don't want to stand for that, and that's your choice.
Podcaster for sports. I'm not about to jump on here and start talking about my fucking politics, man, because nobody gives a shit.
Oh, but you can. You just got to deal with the consequences of it. You know, there's freedom of speech, but there will be too. You know, 8 a.m. Guys, we love you. It's been a lot of fun. Brandon, you were awesome tonight. Glad we got to get this show in.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we got back together, man. I hope you enjoyed your vacation, but I need you back.
Fucking good. Yeah, no, I did. We I took Cindy on a jet ski tour with dolphins. It was badass. It's awesome. Yeah.
Dolphins are the shit. I've swam with dolphins a few times.
Beaches, pools. Yeah.
Animals are incredibly smart. It's
great. I want to live in Florida. I want to get the fuck out of Illinois.
Don't bring politics in it. So do the Bears. All right, fellas. Thanks everybody in the chat. We love you guys. We'll be back for Northside Now Sunday night, 7 o'clock. Northside Now. You guys tune into that because the Cubs just had an awesome series against the Angels. Much love. We'll be back on Monday for the House Hall Hangover. Justin.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful evening, wonderful morning, wonderful weekend. Bear the fuck down.
Bear down.